Every rider who made an impact on motocross had a coach. Some pointing out lines, correcting mistakes, and building the technique to go faster. Before coaching was an industry, before riding schools, there was Gary Bailey.
I was just blessed. I mean, why God blessed me with this, I don't know. Jesus, it's been good life.
Gary wasn't just a coach, he was a racer first. In a sport dominated by Europeans, he became the first American to beat them on American soil. That racing background shaped how Gary saw the sport. He studied motocross like a playbook, filming every practice, every lap, breaking riding down into technique, timing, and intention. That approach helped shape his son, David Bailey.
I adopted him, so he's not my stepson, he's my child.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't that make him my child?
Yeah.
It does.
A two-time Supercross champion and 250 motocross champion.
When I saw that he was taking a real interest in wanting to be, not because I want him to be, he wanted to be the best. He wanted to win a championship. He wanted to win the Motocross of Nations. Whatever race he had put his mind onto, that's what he wanted.
And one of the riders who helped define the modern riding style. Smooth, calculated, and everything done with intent. Gary would go on to teach riders at the highest level, including Travis Pastrana, influencing generations of riders along the way. Gypsy Gang, welcome the Professor, Gary Bailey, to the podcast.
I met a gypsy.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
the Professor.
Yeah.
We're doing it, mate. Thanks for being here. I've had a bit of a layoff, so people that are hearing this, there's probably going to be some podcasts that come out before this one gets posted.
Right.
But I've had 5 months off.
Well, I wish I could take 5 months off. Well, actually, I do.
Well,
I take a lot of time off.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't give me that. But no, I'm excited, mate. I'm excited to be back in this chair. It's been a long time, and I think this is a great way to get back into it.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to it. It's I've been watching a lot of your shows, and they're pretty cool. I just like your format, and everybody seems to be straightforward and not reading a script, and yeah. I think that's always kind of cool.
Did I offend you when I asked if you'd listen to one of these before?
Well, my first thought was he thinks I'm so old that I don't even know how to turn a computer on. But actually, I like Photoshop and Illustrator, and I'm kind of like, I just get wrapped up in that stuff. So yeah, I know a little bit about a computer.
You come with your laptop and everything.
Yeah,
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into it, but like your YouTube channel, and that's what inspired me to ask you to come on the podcast, actually, was your YouTube channel.
Well, let's talk about that a minute. A lot of people don't even know that exists, and it's simple on YouTube. It's Gary Bailey MX.
Yep.
I started shooting, are we videoing?
Yep.
Good. Okay. I started doing videos back in VHS when David started actually in the pro, maybe just a little bit before he turned pro. I kind of got intrigued by it in the beginning by going, how come football shoots all the games? They go back and they review them. They talk about the good, the bads, and I just go, why are we missing that in motocross? Maybe in some other sports too. But it just intrigued me to go, you know what? I want to know more about what those other guys are doing. I guess at first I wanted David to be able to see himself riding.
Yep.
Because there was always this, I would say, David, you need to do this, you need to do that. And he's like, well, no, well, I am, well, I'm not. And I'm like going, okay, well, I'm going to fix this real quick. When it comes to my mind, we were on Kawasaki's. We're at High Point. This might have been like 70, no, it would have been 80 because we Kawasaki. And he gets good jumps, but he goes around the first turn like mid-pack. And I'm like, David, you're dumping the clutch too hard and you're wheeling over the gate and having to back out. No, I'm not. I'm like, you are. I'm telling you are. Well, I've been videoing it, okay? So I bring the camera out and go, well, take a look at it and see. And then it's like, God, I can't believe I'm doing that. And I'm like, you are. You just need to be a little bit more patient with your clutch because your reaction is good. But after that, it is a disaster, like almost with train wreck with fatalities, but it's just terrible. Now you're in the mix with all the guys that you don't want to be with. You want to be up there hopefully running with more of the top guys because that's the only way you're going to learn. You're not going to learn anything back where you are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started in the very beginning. Then I tried to go to every one of his pro races I could possibly go to. I'd say I probably got to at least 50% of them.
Yeah.
Because I had my schools and things that I was doing. I videoed all of them, so we're able to come back and see them. A lot of those are ones that I've posted on my YouTube channel because all this stuff was just sitting in a back room. And I went, why is it sitting here? And where is this stuff going to go when it gets outdated, which a lot of it was getting outdated because I started first with VHS and then I actually started shooting for Moto World for 2 years. And it helped me to get to all of David's races because they paid my expenses to go to the races. They used my footage. We got to use the footage for what we wanted to because I basically owned the footage. I just gave them what they wanted from the footage. So it was working out perfect for me. And I had that big camera on my shoulder with the bag that I had to carry. And that was just not fun. Maybe the most fun one that wasn't. I was at the Atlanta Motocross when they ran it behind the Six Flags. And I was standing, these guys were coming over this big jump, and I was shooting everybody coming through, kind of getting a little bit of everybody coming over the jump. And all of a sudden, this one guy was coming at me. Of course, I'm telephotoed, so I'm like, yeah, no big deal. I've had a lot of those before. The guy's coming at me, and all of a sudden I'm going, holy crap. And this handlebar grabs a hold of the cable between the camera and the bag and rips it completely out. But as he's ripping it out, all you see is the camera going into the air. And that was the end of the day. Fortunately, I don't know why. I had an extra cable. I was able to shoot the rest of the races. So I got all that. And, of course, I was shooting for Moto World, and they wouldn't be happy if I missed some of that. So, anyway, I've carried all of that stuff around, and I had that on those huge tapes. And then when it went to the little bit smaller tapes and then it went to the what was it, DVD? No, it's a DV tape.
Yeah, mini DV.
Yeah, mini DVs. Yeah, mini DVs.
Yeah, that's what I started filming on.
Right. Okay. Yeah, doing with that, and that was about the time of Pastrana too.
Yep.
Because when I started helping him out a little bit, he had one of those cameras. And mine was getting pretty antique, and he goes, finally, why don't you just take this one I got? I go, dude, this is like brand new. It's like, oh, yes, I'll take that one. So I've been through the whole year, and now the little card is just sticking to the camera. And so, yeah, I've been there through the whole time, and I have only been one time ever, to a race without a camera in my hand. I surprised my wife one time. We were going to Anaheim 1. No, actually, it was San Diego. It was not Anaheim 1. It was San Diego. And I said, hey, let's go to San Diego and let's just go hang out and be like spectators. And she goes, well, okay, you going to bring your camera? I go, no, I'm not bringing my camera. She's like, are you serious? I am not bringing my camera. We're going to go there. We're going to watch the race, and we're going to enjoy it. That's the only time I never went to a race without a camera. For me, cameras first was for David to help him. Then as I started helping other riders, I experienced some of the same things that David was experiencing where, no, I wasn't, and I have to say, yes, you were. And then I had to back it up until they saw it. And probably some of the scariest ones was watching Travis do some crazy nose wheelie almost over the bars. And I'm going, Travis, that was sketchy. And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, this was so sketchy. I thought you were going to crash. He said, what are you talking about? We go back to the rig, and I go, Travis, watch this. And he's like, watch it. And he goes, holy crap, dude, that's scary. I go, that's what I have to watch all the time, Travis. I always have to watch that. And I go, to you, it's nothing. To me, all I'm seeing is you going over the bars the next time. And so, yeah, so I videoed all of them. And then as I was doing my schools, it was really good for me because I've always been trying to keep up with technique.
Yeah.
People have even said, oh, you're old. Oh, you don't know. Like, I may be old, but I've stayed with the techniques. I've always cared about who's winning today, why they're winning today, why did they get 6th last week and win the week before. Those things intrigue me. And people don't like watching videos with me because I'm always stop, pause, rewind, watch it, slow-mo it when I see something that just like was different. And So I like doing videos because of that. And it was always interesting to me. And now it's even better because I was able to post all this stuff. And I think I've got 550 some on there now. And I'm finding that people like practice sessions too that they never get to see in Supercross. I seem to get a big response from that. There's so much about video to me that you can learn. It just tells you can see it over and over and over again. It's like watching a replay at football, and you all of a sudden go, if he hadn't have done that, that wouldn't have happened. Well, in moto, there's just so much. I mean, I can go through James Stewart. Let's talk video. We're going to talk James Stewart for a minute. Like Travis, anytime James hit the track, my camera was on James. I was either shooting rapid photos or I was videoing. When Travis hit the track, same thing. Travis never hit a practice track, racetrack, or anything that I didn't have the camera on him. And we spent 13 years together, actually. And I'm looking at this stuff and learning. So James Stewart, I'm watching and I'm going, why does James never have his finger on the clutch? I can't say he never uses it because he used it in the middle and exit of a corner. So he did, but it was very explosive. I mean, how do I criticize probably one of the fastest guys on the planet ever? That was just amazing to watch. Well, I can because I've looked at enough footage of all the top guys, and I'm looking, why is James crashing here? Why is James crashing there? I don't remember the race, but I do remember the situation. It was at a Supercross. There was a left-hand corner. James come into the corner, and his front end starts washing out. Well, it's throttle. Oops, it's not quite there. Front end washes out. He picks up the bike. He takes off. Set of whoops is like 30 feet away. Goes into the whoop section, wheelies into the whoop section, drops his front wheel into the third whoop, and goes over the bars. Again, no finger on the clutch. I'm going, if that would have been, gosh, I don't know who we want to talk about. I mean, any guy that had his finger on the clutch.
Right, and used to. He
has a chance to I don't care if it's a 4-stroke, a 2-stroke, I don't care what it is. There's always that sense of hesitation, particularly on a 4-stroke. They have that little sense of hesitation there sometimes, and they're much better now than they used to be.
We flew all the way to Japan and filmed 100 Hours with Jo Shimoda. We premiered it in Laguna Beach, California, and the response was unreal. The room was packed, the energy was electric, and after that night, we knew we had to do something for the Gypsy gang who couldn't make it. Before Indiana Supercross on Friday, March 6th, we are hosting a limited screening of 100 Hours with Jo Shimoda. The theatre is just 12 minutes from Lucas Oil Stadium, so if you're coming into town for Supercross, this is the perfect way to kick off the weekend. This is your chance to see it on the big screen before it drops on YouTube. There are only 100 tickets available. I will be there and I cannot wait to meet the Gypsy gang and experience this one together on the big screen. Bring your family, bring your friends, come experience 100 Hours with Jo Shimoda the way it was meant to be seen. Once those 100 tickets are gone, that is it. We will see you in Indy.
Still, when you need power, you need it instantly. And for me, if you don't have your finger on the clutch, then when you need the power instantly, like at this exact second, how far are you going to travel before you can get your finger on the clutch to create that power that may not be there? Well, it depends on how fast you're going. But I'm going to tell you what, you need it right now. You don't need it later. I'm a firm believer that when Sexton was on Honda, most every one of those crashes that I had, that I saw, no finger on the clutch.
Really?
Yes. And I'm going,
that would be very
blame it on the front end, blame it on whatever you want. I'm telling you, I'm sitting there watching it going, I'm telling you, this is a pattern. It's a pattern.
Yeah, it makes sense. I wish I could see.
So let's talk about his brother, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm's had some hard times.
Yeah.
No clutch, no clutch, no clutch. Look at Malcolm now. You're going to see his finger on the clutch. I'm going to say 50, 60, 70% of the time you're going to see his finger on the clutch.
So why do you think guys don't do it?
Well, I can tell you exactly why. In 2 strokes, they didn't know the difference. But we learned on 2 strokes that in order to get that kind of power, you had to use a little clutch, particularly on a 125. If you weren't using a clutch on a 125, you were just struggling.
Yeah.
Okay? So think about what happened when we went to 4 strokes. Oh, you don't need the clutch anymore. On these 4 strokes, you don't need the clutch. In fact, you can put it in 3rd gear and ride around all day long in 3rd gear, and you don't need the clutch at all because it's got this torque and this bottom end power. And I'm going, you're right, you don't need it. But you know what? You better use it, and you better have your finger on it. How many of these older guys, I'm speaking older guys now, okay? How many of these older guys buy a 450 because they know they can ride it around in 1 gear, they don't have to use the clutch, they don't have to shift, they don't have to do anything?
Me.
But, okay, and so what do their bikes sound like? Well, they certainly don't sound like anything like a Deegan or a Tomac or even a Jett Lawrence, or they got this luggy, sluggish. I have a hard time getting guys on 4-stroke, particularly a 450, to even drop down a gear sometimes. And to convince them that in a real tight technical corner, you can even go to 1st gear on a 450. And they look at me like I've lost my mind. And then they come out of the corner with a tiny little bit of clutch, just controlling that power. And they go, oh, it's so much easier that way. And I'm going, and then, look, you can get on the internet and find this all day long. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to go there. There are teachers, there are schools out there that are still saying you don't need the clutch. That'll throw the clutch up in the air out of the way. If you're telling somebody that, and then you watch a race, and you see 9 out of 10 of the top guys with their finger on the clutch, even in the air, getting ready to use it for a landing, how can you teach that you don't need the clutch on these bikes when all these top guys, 250s and 450s, got their finger on the clutch? When I pick up the new Racer X, if I'm going to do a class with a guy, the first thing I do is I go through there and I circle all the guys' fingers on the clutch, all of them, and I X on a couple of them that don't. And I'm going to tell you that 95% of the time, this is not an exaggeration, the guys that don't have the finger on the clutch are some guy we don't even know. So the guy sends me a picture. Here's a picture of Tomac in the air, and he doesn't have his finger on the clutch. He's taking his tearaway off. And I'm going, are you an idiot? It's like, of course he doesn't have his finger on the clutch.
Yeah, I mean, Tomac's a great example of a guy that just modulates power so consistently and so often, even on jump faces. And you can see in Supercross that there's rhythm sections that he can do so much easier than other people because of the control that he has.
And do you know that there's so many guys that talk about you don't need the clutch in the whoops, but the top guys do use it in the whoops? You use it sometimes to control the spin. You use it sometimes because the power runs out near the end to keep the power up. You use it, the front end is going to drop a little bit in one of them to kind of make sure it pops back out of it. There's that little tiny feel of the clutch. The clutch, let's learn to use the clutch. Let's don't abuse the clutch.
Yeah.
I would say Tomac abuses his clutch. All right? Yeah, I think I can say this. When I was at Budge Creek, and I haven't been to a race in 6 years. I haven't been to a race in 6. I watch all of them. I haven't been any. For a lot of reasons, politics, and just because I can see it on TV and see more than I can see on the racetrack. Right? Yeah, that's probably the biggest reason. I happened to stop by Tomac's pit, and I was going to have him sign a jersey for an event we were having. And while he was signing the jersey, I said, hey, I've been a Tomac guy forever, man. We've talked. I've just been a Tomac guy. And I go, I'm telling you, I just took a whole lot of photos and stuff and some video, and I've watched a ton of yours. And you're not hooked up. To me, you're getting too much tire spin. My opinion is you use the clutch too hard. That's just my opinion. I'm not telling you how to ride. I'm just telling you what I see. Okay, and I think that if you would just figure out how to get more traction, and he looks at me and the first thing he says, my dad and I just talked about this last week. And I'm going, Okay, that's pretty funny. And he goes, and those Hondas, he said, they got some kind of a mechanism or something that's got them hooked up better. I don't know what it is, but man, they're just hooked up better all the time. And I go, that's where you're getting beat. You're as good a rider, I think, as Jett. I think you can run with Jett, maybe even beat Jett. But you're not going to as long as that bike hooked up. The few videos that I've seen thus far on the KTM, I'm going, Lord, thank you. I think it's not that the Yamaha is not good. I think that's what Tomac needs. I think he needs something that doesn't hit. Went to his cable clutch. That's fine because I've never been a fan of the hydraulic myself, personally. I always preferred the cable. But I just think you got a little tiny bit more feel and control with the cable clutch than you do. And I can understand why Tomac didn't like it because it was kind of on, off, boom, boom, or hit, miss type of thing. But yeah, I just think that I think this guy can do something serious this year with the KTM just because of the power that it produces and just the different bike. I think it's what he needs. That's my opinion. I mean, I may be off base, but that's what I think. So
yeah, did you watch any of Tomac's World Supercross stuff?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think? He looked great at the Gold Coast. Great at Canada.
Unbelievable. I was going, there's my Tomac right there, buddy. That's the one. Yeah, and then I was kind of disappointed that after that it kind of didn't go so well. And I don't know if it was the track, the conditions, the bike. I understood they were having some problems, some issues with the bike. I don't know what those issues were, but I don't know. I don't know much more than that. But boy, I was impressed with that first one. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, I think the conditions that he faced in Canada are probably the most Tomac-esque conditions. Very loose, very soft, very rutted, very technical.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Gold Coast, the whoops were very dry and slick and hard.
And he wasn't doing anything good in there.
Nah. That's where he was losing almost everything, really.
I believe it.
They said that he was running the scoop, but I think that's all they bought with them.
I don't totally agree with that scoop 100% of the time either.
I don't either.
I cannot. He's not going to sell me on it. And everything that I've ever taught, everything that I've ever learned has been because of what 9 out of the 10 guys do.
Yeah.
When Carmichael was winning, did I say Carmichael was absolutely the best at everything? No, but Carmichael was amazing. He had a lot of talent in a lot of areas, and so he didn't use the clutch as much. So he didn't have the flow. Maybe he wasn't always in the right place on the bike, but he knew how to make that work.
Yeah.
So was I telling everybody, hey, we're going to all ride like Carmichael? No. When Bob Hanna was the guy, did I tell everybody we're like Bob Hanna? No, because you know what? If you'd have rolled like Bob Hanna, you'd have been laying on the ground 99% of the time. Bob Hanna was just amazing. And I don't know how much you've ever paid attention to Bob Hanna, but we always thought he was like a cat. When you could throw this guy up in the air and he'd land on his feet, like every time. And I never seen a guy that could figure out how to stop crashing before he crashed. He would just hang onto the bike and make sure it stayed running, and he was picking it up while he was crashing, and I'm just like, how in the world do you do that, you know? So, no, I wasn't teaching everybody to ride like Bob Hanna, as great as he was, but were there some pieces of Bob Hanna that we wanted? Oh, yeah, for sure, there were some pieces we wanted. And I just think that what I always looked at when David and I were coming up was, we don't want to be like anybody. We want to be like everybody. Let's take the best of, and that's what David would do when he studied the tapes. What's Brock's strong point? What's Ward's strong point? What is Lachine's strong point? What is Johnson's strong point? That's all we wanted. We didn't care about the rest of it. We just cared about that strong point. And that's what we went after, was all of those strong points. We're talking about finger on the clutch. I remember the day, for David, I tried to tell him forever, David, you need to use one finger on the clutch. Because we'd use 2 fingers forever. And he's like, no, Dad, I like 2 fingers. I get more feel. I can control it better. Da-da-da-da-da. On the start, I agree with that on the start. Because you get a much better feel, I think, with 2, which was a lot of the one-finger guys use 2 on the start. What well, we're going to talk weird. Stewart was the absolute opposite. 1 on the start, 2 on the clutch when he used it in the corners. I'm like, okay, whatever. So that threw that theory out the window. So, yeah, that's what we always worked toward, was finding the best of everybody.
Yep.
And then that makes you hopefully the best.
It does blow me away that more people don't film every single session that they have. I think Deegan has a huge advantage with his YouTube channel because he can look at almost every single day of his ride. I don't know how much he does study, but he has a whole catalog of footage to look at. I mean, he can, how did I look? If he goes through a dry spell of not winning races, it's like, what did I look like when I won 3 in a row? What were my practice days like before that? And you talk about the NFL. I say it all the time. People in the NFL, every single scrimmage, every drill, everything is getting filmed. Every race there or every game they're watching tape. It's just such a massive component of sport these days. And I know myself, whenever I film myself ride or doing any sort of like training martial arts, like when I see what I'm doing, it's so different. Golf, same thing. You see your swing.
What you're basically doing is going, dude, I can't believe I did that.
Yep.
I can't believe it. Dude, why did I do that? Well, because you did. And I don't understand all the years that I did this, all the years that I coached, all the years that I was working with top riders. I know a lot of the other guys that are trainers. Nobody has a camera in their hand at their races. Why? I definitely don't understand that. Am I smarter than them? Yeah, I might be smarter than them because I know more than them. Why do I know more? Not just because I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm looking at what changes are happening and why they're happening and what the advantage is. And these other guys, I don't care who you're talking to. There's going to be a rider that's going to say, yeah, whatever, okay, blah. But if you can prove it to them and show them, I'm telling you, I never went to the track with Cooper Webb. I never went to the track without a camera, ever. I don't remember him ever from the time we were on 80s. I did never remember being at a track with Cooper Webb without videoing what he was doing, ever. It's like, I want him to see it. I want him to know. I want him to believe in me.
Yeah, and here's the proof.
And believe in himself.
Yeah.
Okay? So as soon as he sees it, and he believes in me, and he knows that this is why. This is what I'm telling you, and this is why you have to do it. I don't remember the exact. I think it was when when Anderson was in the 250s with Webb. Don't correct me. I think this is what it was. We were at the races, and Cooper was about a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap off. Jason was over jumping all the doubles and just landing downside. Cooper was landing every one of them perfect on the downside. And I'm going, dude, you got to start over jumping this. I don't want to over jump. I'm like landing on the downside, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm telling you. And I would take all of my videos. I would break it down into how many ever feet of the racetrack that I want. And I would do an overlay with the two of them. And I could show them exactly. And then as soon as that section was done, I'd stop it. I'd bring them back together again in the next clip, run them through the next section, do an edit wherever I needed to, show them the video, show them the time, add the time, show them on our sheet from the AMA how much we were off a lap. Here's every 100 foot of it, 5 foot of it right here. Boom, 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 boom. This is all you have to do, or this is what you need to do to be able to go from here to here the same speed he's going. I would shoot the fastest guy in practice plus my rider. I would shoot the fastest guy in the heat race plus my rider. 2 or 3 laps of each one of them so I could come back and lay them side by side.
And you would do that on the race night?
Oh, I could do it on race night, yeah. It took me a while to do it, but I could usually have it done after practice. I could have it done before we went out for heat races. Sometimes between heat races and the main event, I could do a quick little piece of it, but I couldn't do that all that quick and have it ready before main event time. But I would go home that night and I would lay all that down and then send it to the rider or show it to my rider wherever we were. This is where we're losing. This is why we're losing. This is what we need to do. And that was before they had the, what is it now, fish?
Yeah.
Whatever the one that is.
Dartfish, is it called? Is it called dartfish?
Dartfish, yeah.
Yeah.
And even dartfish, to me, doesn't, it shows you the line. It shows you the difference in a rider, but it doesn't show you exactly. I mean, maybe one guy's hanging off the back of the bike and the other guy's forward. It doesn't show that you landed a little bit rear wheel first down the ramp versus landing nose down here. To me, that's the stuff that you need to know. It's pretty obvious when we look at lap times on race day that, okay, you're 2 seconds slower. Okay, we can look at dartfish and we can go, you need it here, here, and here. But how did he get that? Was it that line? Maybe the line wasn't it. Maybe it was something he was doing while he was in that line. So to me, that's a quick, easy way to do it, but it doesn't give me all the detail that I want to give to my rider. So that's the way I used to do it. And I think I was pretty successful at it. The one thing, well, I'll brag about a lot of things, but one thing I will brag about, I never went and searched for a rider that was already successful and then claim that I'm the guy that did it. I picked all my riders. I can go from Travis on 50s. I can go from Cooper Webb on 85s. I can go from Justin Barsha on 80s. I can go to, gosh, I can run through a list of riders. I got them all written down. I can go through a list of riders that I started with when I just saw this guy, I think he has talent. And I usually got that because I could tell by the attention that I got from them when I'm talking, the look in their eyes, and then whether they execute what I've just asked them to do.
Yeah.
And if I don't see that, I don't care if I'm starting out with, like, I saw that in Travis when he was coming off of 50 and he got on an 85. This kid, you probably know Travis pretty well. This kid is the same polite, respectful, appreciative kid that he was when I met him when he was 9 years old.
I would 100% believe that.
No different.
Yep.
And he will never leave a place when people want autographs, when he's just that kind of a person.
Yeah. I literally had this conversation with a friend just the other day. Someone that works with him is like a sponsor, and they just released, did you see the Carson Brown project where they all rode his 500, him, Kenny, and Travis?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Anyway, I was just talking about that whole thing, and they literally were saying, like, man, Travis is just the best dude. Like what you said, and he's been working with him forever. He's like, man, that guy still to this day is the best.
Yep.
He is the best guy.
And I just don't know why. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I guess the world's different, but I don't. And that's the other thing I always tried to tell David. Even when David had a bad race and he'd be sitting in the truck, and people were wanting his autograph, and he's just all just like, I'm going, get out there. You can be mad all you want. Get out there, sign those autographs. Those are your fans. Those people come to see you. I don't need to say anymore. Okay. And it's like these guys today, and I'm not going to name any names, but they just don't appreciate what they have, where they came from. I mean, seeing Lawrence is out there, I love that. I had the opportunity at Budge Creek again to speak with Dad for about a half hour, 45 minutes. I got a chance to talk to Jett a little bit, which I thought was really cool. Few moments with his brother. And just the fact that they took the time to just talk, not just sign a jersey that I needed him to sign for an event, not for me, but for an event. I was really impressed with everything they are. And for me, Jett is, he's got that package, that complete package. I've been amazed with his balance and his control.
It's wild, isn't it?
So I talked to his dad a little bit about that. And, you know, back in the day, I don't know if you know, but like DeCoster and Joel and those guys, they all had rode some trials.
Yeah.
David and I always had trials bikes. Who was the other one? Jean-Michel Bale rode a trials bike. We're talking about some guys that are pretty dang
They were good.
technical.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was asking Darren, right? Darren's dad.
Yep,
Darren. I said, where does Jett get his balance from? I go, does he ride trial bike or anything like that? And he goes, no, but I'll tell you, when he was his brother was racing and he couldn't race yet, he was riding on his pit bike, doing little stoppies, nose wheelies, and just riding really slow stuff and doing. And I'm like, so before he could ever race, he was already working on this balance factor. To me, that is one of the key, absolute most important things. I don't care what anybody says. A little bit of trials riding, getting in technical situations is going to help you. Have you ever tried to ride across a 4x4 that's 8 foot long?
No.
Well, try it sometime.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing in the world. Take a 4x6. You'll have trouble with a 4x6.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay? And just riding along 8 foot long. Forget 12 and 16 and those. Just that far. I think a lot of my success that I had, there was a lot of reasons why that I was successful as I was in my early racing career. But that stuff was the stuff that intrigued me. I like doing something really technical and really slow and doing something that really challenged my balance. Not that I knew it was the best thing to do. It's just I like doing that.
Yeah.
I could wheelie my old Schwinn bicycle from here to Canada if I needed to. I'll probably get tired before I get there. But I like that's balance. That's what I like doing. That was fun to me. And I think it really helped me because even all the time I was racing, I still like doing a lot of that stuff. I entered a couple trials events. I ran in 1970. I rode the U Cup Trials, which was a 2-day Scottish trials up in Colorado, above Timberline. I got second place in it. I was leading it, points and time, but I'm colorblind and I couldn't see the red ribbons and the green trees. And I took some, and I didn't see anybody or hear anybody. And I'm just like, dude, where? Shut my bike off, and I'm like, I don't hear anybody. And I haven't seen a marker forever, so I turn around. I forget what, I was like 20 minutes late for the end thing. So I wanted on the observe part, but I lost it at the time because I got lost. And then I rode the Dixie in Montgomery, Alabama. I rode the Dixie State Championship trials there and won that one. I always had a trials bike. I just liked doing it because I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you ever seen my balancing act. I have some photos of that. I used to ride up, and just on the starting line, sometimes freak people out. I'd ride up the starting line, and I'd cock the wheel a little sideways.
Yeah, I have seen that.
And I'd stop my bike and do a complete. I'd even climb out on the front fender. And I'd hold my front brake because if the front wheel rocks, you can't do it. Yeah. Because the bike is off. And I would put my knee up against the front brake lever, and stand there and do this, then climb back around the bike, get on it, and start it, and ride away. And people were just like, and then of course everywhere I went, people would go, "Hey, we got to see your balancing act," and I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." So, yeah, and I think that stuff just helped me when I get in any kind of a situation. I think that stuff really makes a difference. And I don't think the guys today, how many guys today, pro guys, go trail riding?
Not many.
They don't.
No.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Travis and I would go to this place down at Croom in Florida.
Yep, I know Croom.
When he was on an 85, I'm on my 250. I was still riding a lot then. And I'd look at a hill and go, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Okay." He said, "If you make it up there, I'll try it." And so I'm like, "Okay." So we would challenge ourselves for hills. And occasionally he'd stop and go, "So what do you think about that one?" And I'm going, "Okay. So if I make it up there, you're going to try that." And he goes, "Yes, sir." And we spent half of our day not doing moto, doing that stuff.
Yeah, just bike skill.
Yes. And to me, it's like those things are important. And I think that Jett may more naturally have those, but he has those. That's my opinion. I just think that more guys need to do the bike skills thing. One thing I started doing this when I was, what am I, Triumph Cub? No, I was on a Hodaka. I was on a 90C Hodaka. I would start riding along at my house. There were curbs in this neighborhood that I lived. And I'd put the front wheel up on the curb in the back end on the bottom and just ride the whole curb thing all the way along, just to get that off balance type situation, cross-threaded situation feel.
Yep.
I did that in my schools. And in my schools, we had a place, this big bank that we'd do it all the way along this dirt bank. And when I tell the guys, okay, now you're going to do it one-handed. And they're all like, what? And I go, yeah. So I always demonstrated first, and all the way across the thing one-handed, just skidding along the side. And they're like, okay, well, that didn't always end well for a lot of them. But just things like that. We always did trail rides in the morning, a slow trail ride, at least 20 minutes every morning before my class started. Slow, balance, put your foot down, go to the end of the line. Put your foot down, you got to go to the end of the line. Put your foot down, you got to go to the end of the line.
Yeah.
And we do hills and uphills and downhills and just all kinds of stuff. We got to work on, get the balance first. Can you do a wheelie? Burp. I was pretty good at wheeling. In fact, I thought I was really good at wheeling. And then I met this guy called Doug DeMocus.
Really?
And you know who Doug DeMocus was?
No.
You don't know. You need to look up Doug DeMocus. This was a kid that could wheelie, went all the way around Unadilla and never set the front wheel down.
Really?
Yeah. But he had a little trick that he did that was kind of cool. He put a motor on the front wheel, so that rotation, he always had
it kept spinning.
That gyro thing going, okay?
Yeah.
So I was at Redbud, probably, what year would that have been? Gosh. Somewhere in the mid-'70s, late 70s. And I was telling Gene Ritchie there, I said, hey, he says, you're pretty good at wheelies, aren't you? And I go, yeah, I think so. And he said, how good are you? I said, well, bring somebody out here. I'll kick their ass. How's that? And he's like, oh, okay, we'll see about that. So here comes this kid on this 400 Mako, pulls up there, ragged 400 Mako. And I said, so what's the deal? He says, okay, we're going to go down the road here behind the shop. We're going to turn. We're going to go up the hill to the barbed wire fence at the top of the hill. Okay. So I take off. And I get going, and I go, he must have fallen. I look back, he's still going. And I'm going, and I look back, he's still going. I'm like, holy crap. I get down to the turn. I start up the hill, and I look, and he's way back there, but he's still. I go, I wonder if that somebody set that front wheel down a couple times, and I didn't see it. Oh, he's still in a wheelie. I went all the way up to the barbed wire fence. I set it down, touched the barbed wire fence with my front wheel, and I go, He comes all the way up the hill, turns, and rides back down the hill. And I'm going, are you freaking kidding me? Well, here's what I found out. Why I couldn't do it and he could. I'd never used my rear brake before to control it from going over backwards. I'd always totally just total throttle with no rear brake. And that's why I had trouble going down hills. I could go uphill or flat ground all day long. And so I was like, how the hell do you? He goes, you use your rear brake? And I go, for what? And he goes, well, that's how you keep it. Have you ever ridden down on the beach?
Yeah.
On the ocean?
Yeah.
On the wet sand?
Yeah.
You can do a wheelie there. Easiest thing in the world. You know that?
Because you can just back off. It acts like a rear brake.
Yeah, because the sand is just pulling that rear brake. I never even thought about that. I'd been doing wheelies and Hodakas and everything you can possibly think of, and I had never used the rear brake.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And you found out that one day.
Yeah, that one day, and I was like, so man, I think we bet $100 or something.
Did you start doing it after that with the rear brake?
Oh yeah, well I was straight. Now it's rear brake. All I got to do is the rear brake now.
That's unreal.
Absolutely.
So when did motorcycles enter your life? Because you're still so passionate to this very day.
It probably entered my life probably when I was right after I was born. My grandfather owned a motorcycle shop.
No way.
He was a Harley dealership.
Yep.
one of the first Indian dealerships.
Yep.
He was also one of the original Yamaha dealers. That was his last shop before he closed down. He had, when I really got wanting to do it, my brother had started racing and doing some desert events. And I went out to a couple of the events. I hadn't raced him yet. I was 13.
Yep.
And it was on a 200 Triumph Cub. This was the year before they put swing arms on. And it was just, the front forks may have had this much travel, I'm not really sure. And the back end had this little plunger thing. It was like moved about this far up and down just because it wasn't rigid. It just had a little, and that was a 55 Cub. And that's what I started racing on. And then I got a 59 Triumph Cub. My brother and I both bought 59 Triumph Cubs together. I had his 55, then he bought a 57, then he bought a 59. And when he bought 59, I bought a 59 Triumph Cub. Started racing when I was 13. I had to race against the older guys. There was no kids racing because there was nobody my size. I was big for 13. I mean, I was like 6'1" at 13 years old.
Really?
Yeah. So I was a big kid.
How tall are you now? You're probably 6'3".
Well, I was 6'5" and a half.
Really?
I was trying to get to 6'6", and I couldn't make it. And let me tell you something about really. People remember Too Tall Bill?
No.
Gosh, dude, where are you from, man?
I'm from Australia, man.
Yeah, what year are you from?
88 I was born.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'll have to educate you then.
Spring
Okay,
chicken.
there was Too Tall Bill. And that was in the early 80s, Too Tall Bill. And rode for Yamaha, Brock Glover in that era right there. And everybody always said, Too Tall Bill, he's tallest. Well, I was taller than Mike Bill. The reason they thought Too Tall Bill, because his inseam was 2 inches taller than mine. When we stood next to each other, I was taller, but it looked like he was taller than me because his inseam was so big. I mean, it might have been 3 inches. I mean, it was like huge, the difference, because I got normal leg pants length. My upper body is tall. So it was a different
kind of tall.
Yeah, different kind of tall. So, yeah, so I was racing with, there was no age groups. It was just 200 class. I mean, that's just what you rode in. So I was like, rode that for a while. And then I wanted to get a little bit more riding in. Oh, boy, I got to back up a minute. This is 1960. Yeah. Honda comes out with this Honda Scrambler. And I remember hearing it the first time they took it to Ascot Park, because we used to go to Ascot Park with my grandfather. And this thing went, I don't know how many, 10,000, 12,000 RPM, whatever the hell it reached. But and this guy comes out of the corner on this thing and just leaves it in second gear and runs down the straightaway, just it's just like everybody's waiting for it to just blow up, right? Down the corner, and we're like, holy crap, we never heard anything turn those kind of RPMs before. Well, about 6 months later, this dealer, Norm Reeves, he knew I was doing pretty good racing my bike I was racing, and he said, hey, would you like to ride one of those new 305 Hondas? And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. He goes, got one for you. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, I'm walking in the back room. And he's like, there it is. And I'm like, it's a box. A box with all these parts in it. And he's like, if you can put that thing together and get it to run, he goes, you can race it.
Wow.
So me and a buddy of mine got a box, just put it in my truck. And he goes, oh, here's the manual. It's all in Japanese.
That's how it was done that back then.
All in Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, shit. Well, I remember my grandfather first started the Yamaha dealership.
Yeah.
Everything was in Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no. And in fact, the best one other my grandfather had, and what I would give today to have this. You know how they have it all in Japanese, and then they want to translate it into English. So they have an English guy go through and make little notes, boom, boom, on all the parts and what it says and all, right? So my grandfather goes, come here, you're not going to believe this. I go, what? And there's this part with an arrow pointed to it. It says, this is Mickey Mouse.
No way.
In the actual manual that was printed. I was like, oh my God, this could never happen. Can you imagine if you had one of those manuals? I mean, that would be just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Classic. So,
Man.
yeah. So anyway, I raced my Triumph Cub for a while. And then I rode some flat track at Ascot on a half mile. I rode some TT at Ascot. And down in San Diego, I rode in the novice class first on a 250 Montesa. I try to get guys today to understand to do flat track, and I go, why have you never done flat track?
So cool, eh?
It's like, they said, well, I just, and they don't like flat corners. They don't like flat corners. 2 experiences. I like backing up, going where.
This is what we're here for. You know the drill.
2 experiences. Travis. We're at this race. He's pretty much just smoking everybody. It's a little dry, a little hard pack stuff. Berms and ruts, everything. There's this one, it's a right-hand corner around a tree. And he goes to it so slow, I'm surprised he didn't fall over. Slick, off camber, no rut, nothing. I'm going, Travis, dude, why are you so slow around that corner? He goes, man, I feel I'm going to bust my butt. That thing is so slick, you can't hardly even get on the gas. And I'm like, of course, I'd ridden flat track, so, I like flat track. So, in fact, that was challenging for me. I won a lot of races because of my flat track skills that I might not have won if it was just all moto skills. And he said, no, man, this thing's sketchy. I said, I can fix that. So we found a flat track. We went to a flat track. And I said, okay, you're riding flat track today. So get out there and figure out how to slide this thing. And you can imagine this Travis now, right? You're going, what, Travis? Come on, are you kidding me? You need to do this forever. And so he's out there just kind of trying to figure it out and get sideways. When you get sideways and it hooks up a little bit one time, you're kind of like, whoa, this is a sketch. So it took him a little while. He's making some laps. He started to get better and better and better and doing this flat track thing. And I'm going to stop. I go, that's how you should have been going around that corner right there like that, dude. You got to learn the flat track. If your back end ain't coming out, and if you ain't on the gas, you're going nowhere. Okay. So I said, you got it down pretty good, right? Looks good. I should go the other way. It's like, yeah, the other way. It's like, oh my God. It's weird going right on flat track, then he's going left. I can still where the throttle is and all. It's just a strange. I was always better going left than I was going right too, so I don't know what the hell to say. So I had the same thing with David. We drove from Axton, Virginia to Sonoma. It was Sonoma. It was right there. They were in 79. They had a motocross right there. It wasn't called Sonoma. What's it called? Anyway, right in that same area right there. Drove all the way out California. Hard pack, blue girl. Oh, this was Hannah Howerton era. And we didn't even qualify for the race. I was fit to be tied. Dave goes, we leaving? I go, no, your ass is going to sit right here and you're going to watch this race and you're going to learn something. So just keep an eye on those 2 boys. Guess where we're going Monday morning? We're driving south to Saddleback Park where there's a flat track and you're going to learn how to flat track. And until you can do flat track, wide open, feet out, foot down, I don't care, backwards, forward, upside down, we're going to stay there, and that's all you're going to do all day long. Okay. So we had to work on the flat track thing and get the flat track thing down again. Scared as crap of the slick stuff. So it's like...
And Saddleback was notoriously slick.
Oh, dude, people have no idea that we didn't get prep tracks. We did not get prep tracks. I mean, you can look at some of the old days. In fact, I got 2 photos of the first Mammoth Mountain. There are boulders this big in the track. They weren't allowed to cut down any trees. They had to lay the course out somewhere between where trees were. And I don't guess they were allowed to tear the ground up too much at first either, because the only rocks they moved were the ones laying up on the surface, and they pushed them out of the way. And I mean, literally, you can see the rocks. I mean, I'm going over boulders this big. And that was the first race there. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So I've seen and been through a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, so I rode in a flat track for a while. And one day somebody said to me, hey, there's a motocross. Well, I got to back up again. When I first started on my 200 Cub, we rode scrambles.
Yes.
There wasn't even TT scrambles. And the difference between scrambles and TT scrambles is scrambles was basically no prep, as it is, banner stick laid out here, and there, and that's where the course is. You learn it, and that's where you race, okay? Then we had TT scrambles, which was a laid out track where they actually groomed it and drug it around and got it all nice and flat and smooth. So I've been through both of those right there. That could probably kind of help my flat tracking a little bit too when I got into the flat track stuff. So I went through that period with that, and then next came not only just this motocross. I said, well, what is it? And it's like the old scrambles. Oh my God. Okay, where is it? Where is it? I'm going. So they told me where this thing was, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I'm in for. I just know it's there. And I believe we went to Baymere, I think was that first one. And it was in this little valley with hills and stuff, man. And they went up this ridge and it crossed up the fire road and down and turned and come back down. And I'm looking at it, I'm drooling. I'm just going, this is so cool. I got me a little 100 Hodaka. And you can imagine me, I'm like 6'5" on this 100 Hodaka, which the pictures are pretty hilarious. And I loved it. I just loved this. It was so much fun. So I would race this scrambles or motocross. They were running almost every weekend now somewhere. I would race Thursday night. I would race at Southgate Speedway. I would race the 100 class and an 85 class because they had two of them at the time. And some nights they run the TT program and the short track program all in the same night. Then Nick Nicholson from Greaves saw me at one of the motocross races and said, hey, would you be interested in riding one of my bikes? And I went, yeah. Well, yeah. And he goes, well, get a hold of me. Well, I was working in the grocery store. I didn't have a lot of spare money. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you how much spare money I didn't have. I sold my trophies back at the races to get gas to go to the next race. Or I would have had mega trophies. But I got talking to all of the promoter guys and goes, hey, tell me how much I can get for that trophy. That's what I want. Put gas in my car and enter for the next race. Okay. So that's it. So when Nick asked me, I was like, I'm not going to call embarrass myself. I don't have money to buy a bike. Well, I saw him about 2 or 3 weeks later at the track, and he goes, I thought you were going to call me. You said you wanted to ride one of my bikes. Yeah, Nick, I don't have the money, Nick. I can't afford that. I can barely afford this Hodaka I'm riding. He goes, no, I'm going to give you the bike, dude. You just you keep it until we need to do something else with it, and we'll figure out after that. But you just take care of it. Let me know what parts you need and take care of it. And I'm like, okay, I'll sign up for this program. So the first one I had was a Springer front end 360 Greaves, which was basically a desert model. But I didn't care. I started riding that, and then they came out with a 250.
How much better was that than the Hodaka?
Well, it was a 360 versus a 100.
100, yeah.
So a lot.
Yeah, a lot faster.
The Springer front end was interesting. You've probably never ridden with one of those.
No.
They look at a bump, like a square edge bump, and they kind of laugh as they're coming to it. They just blip. It's almost like, the best way I can describe it is, you know how your rear suspension comes down and soaks up? And then your forks are like this so that they're hitting it at the angle, or your forks are actually hitting it at this angle. So they're soaking up the same way the back end is soaking up.
Yeah.
So it kind of just goes right through it. It's strange. And so I found out that with that, I could never worry about anything I hit with the front end anyway. So that was nice. Then they come out with this 250 that had the telescopic front forks.
Yep.
The 250 model, I could be wrong, but I think they never had this model before, but I was winning a lot of races on the bikes that I was riding. And they came out with this model. They didn't come out with a lot of them. And I think they built this for myself and a couple of other guys that were running TTs. And it was actually a really, really cool bike. And so this thing was, I mean, I can't even tell you, this was just the best thing ever. Then about 6 months later, they came out with a 380 that was telescopic forks, just a little bit more like the 250. And so now I'm in hog heaven here. So I'm running 3 classes. These guys today, and we'll get into the pros today, that they probably don't want to hear what I got to say. I rode 3 classes, 20-minute motos, 3 motos. Guys go, I ride 3 classes a day. Yeah, you don't ride 3 20-minute motos, and you never ride 3 motos in each class. I run 9 motos in a day, and I've got a record of several. I've won all of them in the expert class. And that's 3 hours of riding. Yeah, but no, I'll tell you, but there's only a junior class and a senior class. There's no 85s, 65s, 45s, junior, novice, senior, where you got to have 28 classes in a day. No. There was a 100 class, a 125 class, a 250 class, and an open class. Junior, senior. I had 30 minutes because they ran 15-minute motos. I basically had 30 minutes between each moto that I ran. Boom, 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 boom. And when I hear these guys today whine about this, and
What's up, Gypsy Gang? I'm so stoked to announce my new flannel with Dixon. You can check the link in the description below or head to dixon.com. But we've been working on this for about a year now. I picked all the colors, I picked the design, I picked the patterns, and it's finally alive. If you've worn Dixon flannels before, you know that they are the best flannels that you can buy. And if you've never had the privilege of owning a Dixon flannel of your own, this is about as good as an excuse as you will ever have. I've been wearing this flannel all through Japan. I've been wearing it on the podcast. It's well and truly wear tested. Remember, head to dixon.com, click the link in the description to cop the all new Gypsy Tales signature Dixon flannel.
I don't even get the Supercross thing.
In what way?
Well, first of all, okay, we're going to run a 10-minute practice session. We got to run 2 of those. Oh no! And then what do they got to run, an 8 lap or whatever? Now it's in minutes. An 8-minute heat race that means nothing. It doesn't mean a thing. Back in the day when David was doing it, you had to run a heat race, paid points. You run a semi that paid points, and you run a main event that paid points. And every race, that's what is it the Triple Crown thing where they run the 3?
Yeah.
Those are the best. You don't have, and I don't want to run anybody down. I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but there's 25% of those guys, maybe even more. They don't even belong on a racetrack.
I agree with that.
They got a flipping license because they could. So they could tell their girlfriend and all their friends that they got a flipping pro license.
Have you heard my take on all this?
No, but I sure wouldn't mind.
I just ban privateers.
Hello.
Like, why? This is the pinnacle of the sport. And and my problem with it is, and World Supercross is a great example of this because it's funny. I was with Daniel Blair. We're at the Gold Coast and we were doing some of the TV stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, what's the call time? And he's like, dude, we don't have to be at the track till 11. And I'm like, oh, how good's this? Like, dude, the boys that work for me that shoot Supercross have to be at the track at 7 a.m.
I know.
The race doesn't start until 12 hours later.
Yeah, been there.
These boys have to be there at 7 a.m. for a safety briefing.
Been there.
The same one they did last week because the first practice starts at 8:30 or whatever it is. And because there's like So let's say there's 20 gates on the main event, but there's 80 guys that sign up for the race. So we need to take all day to figure out who are the 60 losers that don't get to race the race. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? One, it's AMA getting entry fees because the entry fees are insanely.
Oh, I know.
Insanely expensive. And we waste all this time. The riders have got to be at the track from 8 a.m. until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wait a minute. Shouldn't we, I tell you how what we should do with football. All those guys that sit on the bench all day long, they should play before the professional guys get out there and eliminate down to who can play get in the real game for the evening. How do you think that's going to go down?
Won't go down well. But anyway, so you are speaking my language. I'm not getting the first show back and I'm already getting fired up about it. But I'm so glad that you said it because we just don't need... There's one guy, I won't name him. I think from memory, I don't want to get this wrong. I think he's made 3 main events in his career.
I know who it is.
But he spent $60,000 on entry fees. It's like, bro.
I know a couple of those.
It's like, bro, that all you're doing is your Instagram bio says professional Supercross rider. You're not. You're not professional. You're not getting paid to be there. You've spent 60 grand of whoever's money so that you can drive a van around America saying that you're a Supercross racer. Yeah. You're not a Supercross racer. Get off the fucking gate. I want to get to the track at 11. And you said before about the guys that it's like they don't want to do the fans. They don't want to do this. They're just over it. They literally have to sit there all day.
Yeah.
For 15, 16 hours on it's just a ridiculous schedule. The whole thing is just absurd.
David is so on board with this that it's like, why are we going to a pro race and watch? Like he and I get excited about the Triple Crown. There's like all the 20 best guys. Every start gate means something.
Yeah.
Every race. I don't care if you're going to run heat races. Every race should mean something
for the championship.
It should. Why? What is so hard? And why weren't you going to reward a guy that's going to push to win a heat race, that's going to push to run a semi-event?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you give him some points toward that?
Yeah.
What kind of racing you really going to see? You think Webb cares if he gets second place in a heat race? If he's like, well, that guy's quicker. It's like, I don't even want to gamble on that. And then they build the track, have to build the tracks for those guys that can't even freaking make the show. They have to build the tracks for them. Well, and the other thing I totally disagree with, I totally 100% disagree with, and that's the fact that these tracks are cookie cutter.
Yeah.
If these guys are pro riders like they should be, there should be different obstacles at different lengths. They can do these things with their eyes closed. I asked Travis one day, I said, Travis, you think you could do that triple right there in first gear? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, serious? He goes, yeah. You want to see me do it? And I'm like, oh my God. I go, you serious? He goes, no, you can jump that in first gear. So he just goes, brap. And I'm like, okay, this is really challenging. Boy, this is tough.
Yeah.
This is really tough stuff here. I mean, when I was building Daytona, I never built anything. And that's why guys cried about it. Everything wasn't to spec. It was all different. And whoops, why should whoops be all the same, perfect, how does that help? They want to get fewer whoops because they're going so fast and they get hurt. Why don't you build the whoops oddball so that you can't skim across the top of them? Then wouldn't that fix some of the situation right there? Well, we can only have 9 whoops. 9 whoops.
Well, I think they're done with that this year, apparently.
I hope so, because that's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
And again, if we got rid of some of the, what do you think about the guys? And I know a couple of them. What do you think about the guys that go out there and practice, and before they get their heat race, they've never skimmed the whoops. They've rolled through the whoops all night long. In all their practice stations, they rolled through the whoops, and now they got to go out for a heat race.
Yeah, but they're the guys I don't think should.
No, they shouldn't even be there.
No. There should be no C practice, and there should be maybe a B practice. I don't even know about that. But I'm so with you. Let's go backwards a little bit.
Let's go backwards. Okay.
You get into racing and it's scrambles and then it's TT scrambles and then it's motocross that really gets you. What is it about motocross that sucked you in?
It wasn't all wide open. It was technical. Always an unknown.
Yep.
Every week was an unknown. You never knew what you were going to get. If it was a new track, I was the first guy. I was at that race. I was always at that race. Some new track somewhere, never been there before. That's where I wanted to go. Because to me, there's more than just twisting the throttle. And I felt like I was always good at, like when the Europeans first come over here, Torsten Hallman come over here in 66 for the first time. I was riding a 650 Triumph at the time, and this was at Hopetown Grand Prix. And he shows up on a 360 Husky, and the rest of us are all on Triumphs, and so you know how that went down. I do have a picture of he and I side by side going down the straightaway, racing. Well, he was lapping me, so I'll call it racing. But we are side by side. A great picture to have. But I do tell the story that, no, I was not in the same lap as this guy was in. That intrigued me. And then when I started riding more and that's when I started getting my Hodaka and started getting the greaves and stuff. And then came over a Juris Dodolka, Roger DeCoster, Joel Roberts, Arnie Kring, Christopher Hammergren, guys, a couple others out there right off the top of my head. And they were so much faster. And I was carrying the #1 plate in 2 classes in California.
And now lapping you.
And they just, well, they weren't lapping us, but they were gone.
Yeah.
You know? And
that must have been a shocking feeling.
Oh, it was like, what? Dude, I mean, what a rude awakening.
Yeah.
To go, the first one that come over here, I think, the European, I think the first one come over was Lars Larson. And Lars come over here because he was going to, with Torsten Hallman Racing, and he was going to be their sales guy and all, but yet he was going to race, and he was going to race the Husqvarnas here to help promote Husqvarna. In fact, I think that Edison Dye brought him over, and then they started with the Thor, which is now Thor Racing, was Torsten Hallman. He was pretty quick. He was quicker than me. It took me a little bit to figure out how to keep up with him.
So what were those guys doing different?
Well, they've been riding motocross forever. And you know, it's like, I think it's like anything else. I think it's like they basically been doing it since, what, the 30s, early 40s? And we didn't start doing this till 60s, so we were a little late on that. I think basically it would be like a B rider. We were basically a B rider. We hadn't graduated to the A class yet, but we didn't know we were B riders. I think you only go as fast as you have to go, and you only know how fast you have to go because of your competition. And we never had to go any faster than me and Larson and Wilson and Silverthorne. We had our battles, but that was, we didn't have to go any faster than we had to do to win.
That makes total sense now that you say that. That's very simple, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like a B rider doesn't know.
Yeah. You don't know what the ceiling
what it's
is.
really like until you go there.
Yeah.
Then you're going, holy crap, dude. Wow. So I learned fast because I wanted to be where they are. I got lucky on July 4th, 1969, Saddleback Park.
I was going to ask you about
first
that.
American to beat the Europeans. First moto, I got third. I knew I had to do something in the second moto. Got a good start. 2 of the guys on the first lap had an issue going up the uphill where it was wet. I went on by them. The first guy to catch up when we had 2 laps to go was Franz Sigmund. And he was right on my butt, because there were several pictures where you could see me and he's right there. I was basically done with, and we were running 30-minute motos, and I was not used to 30-minute motos. So about 25 into it, I was about finished, but still pretty strong because I've been riding 3 classes in 3 hours a day. So it's like in comparison, but I hadn't been doing it that full length in the one moto. So
to that level.
Yeah, and it was hot that day. So I was getting pretty tired. There was this valley that the track come down at Saddleback and went through this valley, and there's spectators on both sides. And I got there, and the friends by, I'm just going, I'm so tired. I don't even know if I can hold him off. And as I went through this valley, all I heard was, Bailey, Bailey. I'm like, okay, can't let these people down, man. This is like, no, that's it. Just kind of gave me that extra little boost. Stayed ahead of him, won it. I was pretty pumped. First and a third. I think Hallman who was leading the world championship at the time. I think it was Hallman had a first and a third, and I had a third and a first. Second moto should win the thing, right? So I'm just all like, oh yes. And then I find out, well, no, actually it didn't. There's a little issue here. I'm like, oh, what is the issue now? Don't tell me there's an issue. What is the issue? Well, the motos are on time for GPs. So it's whoever has the fastest moto.
So it wasn't like the new school count back.
No. So I'm like, dude. So I'm just sober sweating bullets. Next thing I know, they make the announcement, Bailey wins the Grand Prix. I don't even remember what it was. It was like less than 10 seconds. It was like that. But, I mean, if I'd have known, I'd have probably pushed a little harder. I didn't have any idea that it was.
Yeah.
So I got lucky. And, I mean, I had a good ride, but I still got lucky that I ended up winning it because I could have easily not won it just because of the time thing.
Yeah.
It would have been like my Ute Cup trials.
Yeah.
You had it, but you don't.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But, I had another race that same year. It was at Westlake Village. It was during the Interam series. And was it Interam then? It was Trans Am. It was Trans Am then because it was because that was an Edison die event. It was Trans Am. And get those right. Trans Am, Interam, Trans Am. And there was 21 Europeans entered, and I got third overall. Fair and square. No time, no dude, just flat out third overall. And I was pretty stoked about that. Of course, it doesn't draw the same attention as, I was first American. But that didn't draw the same attention as being the first one to beat the Europeans. But to me, it had a lot more, I felt a lot more satisfaction about that one. I was happy about the other one, but I felt more satisfaction about all of those guys, and a whole bunch of them were running the world championship.
Yeah.
So these were the best of the best.
What did you know about the world championship at the time?
Not much. I just knew about DeCoster and Hallman and those guys over there, and it was a world championship, and it was the best of the best that traveled country to country, and that's basically what I knew about it. I'd never been on an airplane at that time, and I won, in 1969, I won 2 trips to Europe by 2 different series. One was a series when I beat the European. It was a 3-race series, and I ended up winning that. Being first American. And it was a trip to go to Germany. And so I was like, oh, okay, trip to Germany. This is cool. I don't know how I'm going to talk to my boss about getting off work for this because I worked in a grocery store.
You still were working in the grocery store?
Yeah, I was still working in the grocery store, yeah. And so I'm like, okay. And then I won another series, an ACA, American Cycle Association. They had a series, and I won a trip to England. So I'd won these 2 trips, and I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't have a bank account, so you didn't get anything for racing, so you're just doing whatever. So I did a little investigating, and I found that my trip, when I was going to go to England, because that's where the Grease factory was, and they were going to have my bike because I was going over to race a couple of international and some local events and stuff. And I was going to spend a month over there in England. So there was so much more money for the English trip that I made a plan. I go, I'm going to cash that in and get my money for it. And I'm going to fly to Germany. Remember, I've never been on an airplane. And I've got my luggage and my gear bag. And I fly to Germany. I get off in Frankfurt. And I'm trying to find somebody who speaks English. This isn't going well. And so finally, I find some guy hearing me trying to talk to some guys. I go, yes, sir. Do you speak English? Yeah, come here. So I tell him I need to go to the train station because I need to get the train to go to Bristol's, to go through Bristol's and to get over and go. I got to get to the ferry to go across to go over to England. And he's like, oh, okay, let me help you out. So he tells the taxi guy takes me there. Here I am getting off the taxi and I'm walking into the train station. And again, I'm like, so I finally see a soldier guy. I go, hey, speak English? He goes, yeah. I go, dude, help me out, please. I go, I got to get on a train. I need to catch the train. I think, where's it go? It goes to, what country do I have to go through there?
Did you have to go to Brussels in Belgium?
Yeah, to go to Brussels and Belgium, yeah.
And you get the Eurostar from Belgium to
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And so...
Was it the one that went underground then? Was that built then?
No.
So you had to get on the ferry? Now there's an underground train.
Okay, no, I got to get on the ferry.
Yeah.
So the guy says, he takes me over, get my ticket, and he says, go over to track number 6 over there. Wait for the train. It'll have this name on the side of the thing. You get on that train, and it's going to take you to the next stop where you're going to get off, and you're going to catch boom, boom. Go. Okay, I got it. So I'm standing there, and he says, he'll be in about 45 minutes. So I'm standing there, and I'm watching, and 3 tracks over, this train pulls in over there, and it's got the name of the same town on it. I'm going, fuck that, dude. I go over there, and I get on this train. We're going along, and I'm like, now I'm ready to sleep, dude. I'm just ready to. I haven't had anything to eat. I'm just like, oh, fuck, okay. All of a sudden, the conductor comes, and he starts rattling a whole bunch of shit off, and I'm going, dude, what the hell? The guy goes, you speak some English? And I go, yeah, it's all I speak is English. And he goes, he wants to see your ticket. Show my ticket. Oh, no, wrong train. I'm like, so the guy's sitting there. I go, what do I do now? And he goes, well, you're going to have to get off at the next stop. And you're going to have to wait for train number, and you're going to have to get on that train. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So anyway, I go through all that. I finally get to the ferry, and I'm ready, and it's nighttime because it's a night trip across there, and it's foggy as hell and cold as hell. I get on the ferry, it's packed. There's no place to sit. Everybody's laying on the deck. So I pile all my shit on there, and I lay down on the deck. And so we go across there at night. I still haven't eaten much of anything because if I can't see it to see what it looks like, I ain't eating it. Yeah. So I get there to London. Oh man, I get off the train on Sunday morning in London. There's nothing open. It's a ghost town.
Yeah.
I go, and now I got to catch another train because I got to catch a train that goes to Essex, England, because that's where the grease factory is. I'm like, okay, God, I got to have something to eat. So I look way down the street down there, and I see some people mingling around this building. I go, there's got to be something down there. So I drag my bags down there. I get to the doorway. I can't even take my bags in there because it's so packed. So I got to set my bags outside. People that speak English. Oh my God, dude. I'm like, yeah, good morning. How are you? And it's bacon and eggs. Yeah, I ordered bacon and eggs, and I get my plate, and I'm like, where the hell do I sit? And then all these people are getting their food and go sit down over here, and they go sit down over there, and they say, I finally asked the guy, where can I sit? He said, the guy said, you can sit anywhere you want. I go, what do you mean? Yeah, you can sit at that table over there with us 3 people over there if you want. I'm like, seriously? He goes, yeah, you just sit wherever you want. Do that in America, man. People look like, what's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah.
So I go to sit down and I eat finally. So then I get on a train to Essex. That was fine. People are speaking English. I get to Essex. It's still Sunday, so the factory isn't open. So I found a bed and breakfast, and I don't know. I think I slept for 2 days. I don't know how long I slept, but I slept forever. But I got to England. It was good. Probably the most exciting thing on this international race I was at. I was running fairly well, but I crashed, and my bike went. And they used ropes.
Yeah. Stakes
my
and
bike
ropes.
went over through the things and into the crowd. These guys are picking my bike over there, and I'm still trying to get myself off the ground. The guy's going, go, go, go. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I take off, and I go, I don't remember how I finished there, but the next weekend I was pretty happy. I went to a local event, one of their local things. It was on a natural hillside, rolling terraced hillside. They get the grass, the cows out of the field right there.
Yeah.
They banner it off. And dude, I'm just like loving this. Is the best I've ever seen. I mean, I like those kind of things, and this is good. I run 4 classes, and I won 3 out of 4 classes, and I was like,
that's awesome.
I was so pumped. That was on my birthday too, and so it was like, wow, what a birthday present, man! This is so cool. Yeah, I run that, and then I came back from England. I had arranged to get a new van because the Inter-Am series was getting ready to start. That would be the Trans Am series, anything, was getting ready to start on the East Coast and going all the way to the West Coast. So I had already told my boss I was going to be back after the English. I was going, by the way, I'm not going back. So the Greaves took care of and helped me out with all that to get across there, so now I could afford to do it. I was able to send money home to pay my bills and stuff, so that was working out pretty well. So I went all the way across the series. Crazy thing, I ended up with Roger and Joel. They were in a one of those VW vans with the motor in the back, and they were having to take their bikes apart every single week and put them in there, and then try and take them out, and then they had to take them out when he wanted to sleep and stuff. They get a motel. So we started traveling together because I had a 3-rail, not a 3-rail. You ever seen the old trailers where they make them where they put a piece of wood and they just cut the holes for the tires to sit in? It was just a wooden thing with the tire. Well, that's what I'd built. So I had that for 3 bikes, and I only had 2 bikes. Vic Allen and I both had a bike, and we had an extra, and I had my little mini bike. And Roger and Joel, we started talking to them, and I said, dude, you guys want to put one of your bikes on my trailer and we can just travel together and have to take them apart all the time? They're like, oh, that'd be great. So actually, it wasn't Joel, it was Dave Bickers. It was Dave Bickers. And so we started traveling across the states, going to the races and stuff. I got a couple photos and stuff of us at these campgrounds. We were just working on our bikes in the state park, and the state ranger come over, and we had our bikes all sitting up on the bench on the corner where it stands and working on. And the ranger's like, I don't think that's a good idea, guys. You shouldn't be putting the bikes up on there and doing that. So, and we traveled across. I remember Bickers, English tea. We went through Yellowstone Park, and Bickers got down there with an old tin cup and got down in that sulfur water. And we were doing a fake thing because I'm videoing this 8mm camera. And it's not video, I'm taking pictures of it. By the way, Ricky Carmichael hasn't figured out yet that we have video now. We're still doing film. Okay, so someday somebody should say, hey, it's not film anymore, it's now video. Okay, because he's all the guys go back and review the film, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So awesome. So he's doing this fake thing with his tea in the mix, like he's drinking it out of his silver water with putting his tea bag in it. It was pretty funny, but and then we blew a tire. You probably never heard this one before. We blew a tire, and we were up in the mountains, going across some mountains. Well, I don't remember where we were. And we blew a tire on the trailer. It's one of those little 13-inch little tires on the back, on the small little, maybe even a 12-inch. And so we blew this tire, and Roger's like, oh, got a plan. He goes, we stop on the side of the road, and we don't have a spare tire, and find this log. Have you ever seen this done? And you lift with the trailer, and you slide the log up in there at the front, and you tie it up on the front part, and you drag the log.
So that it stays.
It stays. So when that one wears out, we stop and we find another one. This one time we couldn't find one, so we took the steel post down on the roadside
and used that to keep the trailer up.
Sparks are flying. It's just
no way.
So we finally get this little tower, we get a tire, and I'm like, oh man, they go, no, we don't carry any tires that size. And he goes, it's about, I don't know, 40, 50 miles to the next place. And I'm like going, shit, we got to drag this through town with this trailer and stuff. Guys, you're not going to believe this. I got a Maverick mini bike because they were giving me a mini bike for pit bike. I go, it's the same size tire.
No
They're going,
way.
no way, dude. I'm fuck yeah. It's like we took that thing off, mounted it on the rim, and we were gone. I was like, dumbasses, you're showing all this way.
The whole time.
All this shit. We had to swear with us the whole time. Didn't even know it. Yeah, so we got that done, and that's the same year that I won the third place at Westlake. So yeah, so it's just
so it's sort of like, because no American, I mean, there was no such thing as a professional American motocross racer at this time.
Not really.
So you're slowly
probably the most maybe John DeSoto a little bit, maybe Ron Nelson, because Montesa was pretty getting involved in, and I think they were getting, well, I know they were getting more support than we were, whether they were getting paid or what. They had to be getting something. I think they were getting gas money and stuff like that, where there was nobody had a professional contract thing. So, and then there becomes this rival between me and Barry Higgins. Yeah. Barry Higgins was the West Coast #1 guy, and he was the East Coast #1 guy. I was the West Coast #1 guy. So anytime that we were together, there was a big deal made out of East-West, Higgins, Bailey, da-da-da-da-da. So that was kind of cool. And, we got to become very good friends. In fact, he told me a story about 2 years ago at this vintage event we were at that I'd forgotten all about. When they had the Snake River, Evel Knievel was supposed to jump the Snake River. They had this big motocross event, and back then, $10,000, a lot of money anyway. And at that same event, he was supposed to jump these cars. And it was the pre-thing before the year he was actually going to jump the canyon. So they had the ramp set up there and everything, and he was going to do this big jump over these vehicles and stuff. And I said, Barry, I can jump that son of a bitch. There ain't nothing to that damn thing. I go, I'm going to go over there and jump that fucking thing. Nobody's going. And he goes, Bailey, no, you can't do that. And he goes, they will throw you the hell out of this place. And I'm going, dude, I'm telling you, it's the simplest stuff. We jump shit bigger than that all the time. He goes, Bailey, do not go over there and jump. He said, I forgot they like that about tie me down because I was going to take my bike and jump that damn thing.
That's
and go,
so funny.
And go, oh, this is really tough.
You have to think that Evel Knievel was just because I think any serious motocross rider these days looks at that and is like, that guy could barely ride.
Okay. When we say that, and there's a lot of overhype. Would you go jump it on that Harley or on that Triumph that he jumped it on?
No, that's the thing.
There's the thing.
He was doing some crazy shit. Like he was jumping those things on bikes that should not have been jumping.
Exactly.
And it made him look like an absolute squid when you see him jumping.
Travis is pretty gung-ho about a lot of shit and jumped in on it, but that ain't the Harley that he was jumping shit on. And I mean, I love Travis to death. Travis is one of my boys. I mean, Travis and I are like this. I mean, we spent a lot of years together, but I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to get on that old Harley, just get it right, take it like it is and go jump it. It's like.
So you think Evel Knievel deserves the respect for just what he did on what bike?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. For the time and the bikes he was jumping and all like that. And even when his kids started jumping, and I'll tell you another kid that was really good was that Bob Gill. Bob Gill, he got paralyzed trying to jump the lake at, it was at Coombs' place. One of the big motocross events. And Bob Gill was going to.
High Point?
Yeah, but it wasn't high. It was right there, but I can't think of the name of the place.
Steel City?
No, it was another track they had. Anyway, I may think of it. Anyway, he was making this big jump across this lake, and he'd always land on flat. He'd do ramps. He's going, dude, I don't want to have to figure out how to land on that stupid ramp every time and get it just right. So when he jumped cars, the first one I ever seen him jump was at St. Pete, Florida, on the drag strip. And he'd come out there and just jump this shit, and land out on the flat with it. Of course, he wasn't using a Harley either. So that was a lot different. And then when his kids started doing it, Robbie, it's like, come on. No, Dad had it. Don't try and be your dad because you ain't your dad.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Evel?
Yes, at one time I did, yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
Yeah. It was all right. It was all right. I mean, it was a short little conversation. So, yeah. And then Supercross, boy, there's always a thing. You've heard the story about Mike Goodwin in Supercross. Kind of.
You probably know more than I do.
Well, supposedly he's the beginning of Supercross in the LA Coliseum. You've heard the story. He drew it out on a napkin, right? All right. Well, a year and a half before that, my brother and I laid out a track inside of Ascot Park.
Yeah.
Where I built it and went up on the walls, jumped off the walls, went up along the fence, come around. Well, we tried to get a sanction from the AMA. The AMA wouldn't give us a sanction, and because we wanted to do an international event and have some of the international riders come while they were here for that Trans Am event.
Yeah.
And they said, no, we can't sanction it. Well, the reason they wouldn't sanction it wasn't natural terrain. You have to read the rule book for motocross. It has to be all natural terrain. Oh, how's that working out today? All natural terrain. How's that working on a Supercross? All natural terrain. They don't even have all natural terrain in motocross anymore. It's all modified.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't give us a sanction. Well, you know who was at that event when we first built that and laid it out?
Mike
Goodwin. He was racing that event. And then he had connections with money because my brother actually went to the people of the LA Coliseum, but the price was so astronomical that we couldn't go borrow that kind of money.
Yeah.
So, and Mike knew people, and he was kind of in that. So he took this idea to the LA Coliseum and put up the money, and he did the race. So, and it's like, well, Mike Goodwin drew it out on a napkin after he saw what we had at Ascot Park.
Yeah, right.
He just happened to be the guy with the money to go and make the next big deal.
Yeah.
So,
what ended up happening with, didn't some guy get murdered or something in that whole...
Yes, Mickey Thompson.
Yeah.
And had this same kind of thing going on. Mickey Thompson was doing off-road stuff.
Yeah.
Mike Goodwin was doing the Supercross, and they were bucking heads.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to go... I'm just going to stay a little low on this.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to get too far with what I do.
But you do. But so you feel you do know the backstory of it.
Yeah, I know the whole backstory. So so he they just had words, and there was some threats and.
From which side?
On Mike threatening.
And then Mickey, so he was the guy that got killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you reckon there's some crazy shit that went down?
Yeah.
I'll just
stay over here and drink some water, okay?
That's crazy, dude. That should be a movie. The early days, some gangster kind of shit in Supercross, because I mean, you guys were all right. The sport, look at the sport now. I mean, what is it, 50 years later?
Yeah.
They saw something and it was right. Maybe it was worth to someone,
But let's talk Supercross for a minute. Do you want to see racing or do you want to see a show? Which do you want to see?
I feel like I know where you're going with it.
Okay.
I think that everything nowadays has to be both.
Yes. In the stadium for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But don't you think we should see the top guys more?
Yes. Yeah.
Than we see them?
Yeah.
And that's why we like that Triple Crown format.
Yeah.
Because we get to see them 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay? And even at that, I look at that and I go, how much racing are these guys really doing? Even when they do that 3 times?
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just the same all day. I want to see 30-minute practices. There's no C-class practice, there's no B-class practice. You go out, there's first practice, 30 minutes, because you've got a fresh track that's like qualifying kind of spec, and then it's going to get really broken down towards the end of it, so they can do some suspension stuff.
No. Excuse me. It's not going to get broke down, because they're going to come in and they're going to manicure the track. They're going to come in and they're going to flatten it out so that it's not tough for these guys. And my opinion is, and I think whatever money these guys get paid, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, there's a lot of risk there, but they're just. They're prima donnas, dude. They're prima donnas. Did they forget where this whole sport started and what it's supposed to be about? It's just like I was saying, these cookie cutter tracks, dude, I can't stand these cookie cutter. You know what the distance of every whoop is going to be. You know what the distance of every triple is going to be. You know what the distance of every double is going to be. I don't get, and that's why the racing sometimes gets so screwed up. I think you're going to have better race. I remember back in 84, there was any one of 15 guys sitting on that start date that could have won that night.
Yeah.
Because you had to be smart, because you had to use some strategy, because you had to pick good lines. You have to know how to do obstacles. You probably have seen the race with David and RJ.
Yeah.
From the Anaheim 86.
Yeah.
Okay. That was not a cookie cutter track.
Yeah.
And David made a couple of commitments on a couple of things that hadn't been done because he had to do it to win. It hadn't been done because it was on the edge of, we don't want to get our top riders hurt. Have you watched football ever? Have you watched how many guys in one night they haul off of a football field? Motocross ain't dangerous, dude. That shit's dangerous.
Yeah, but I feel like that you're just very rarely seeing, like, look at David, like career-ending, life-changing.
Yeah, I mean, those things.
Injuries, which I feel like they don't happen as much in football. I think it's a lot more like concussions and like those sort of things. I think we have just the risk with us is like the
greater risk.
Yeah, the ceiling of injury is worse, But I agree with you on.
But if they weren't going as fast, because everything wasn't so risky, then when you do a triple and you overjump a triple at the speed you're going, dude, that ain't going to be pretty.
Yeah.
When you get through these whoops, because you can hammer across the top of them, there's no... Look, all you got to do is be the dumbest idiot out there in the whoops and just leave it on wide open and survive it for 20 laps, and that's it. It's like, come on, make them a little bit risky. Why don't you make a set of whoops and throw a tabletop in the middle of the set of whoops and some more whoops or something, rather than just say we're going to build 9 whoops or whatever it is. It's like, to me, those whoops should not be that perfect to where you can't just hammer across the top of them.
Yeah, I think that there's a big change that happened. So you look at some of the off-season races that were super hard pack, like they were dusty even.
Okay.
And it just provided such good racing and like so many more guys that had the potential to win because you could go places on the racetrack. You could
that's in the old days when they weren't prepping the tracks.
Yeah.
The more they prep the tracks, the more soft they make them, the more perfect it is, the more ruts that develop, the less racing you go get because it's going to be a preferred rut.
Yeah, but the problem as well is, so you got modern 4-strokes that dig those tracks up, they're prepping the tracks, and they're letting them use all of these different tires. Like, so, like a flat track tire, right?
Yeah.
How much grip you can get with a good flat track tire. That doesn't have massive knobs. It's got no knobs on it. And you can still get really great traction.
Right.
I think Supercross is just scared to make changes because you've got the OEMs that put in like hundreds of thousands of dollars of sponsorship, and then you got these guys, and then you got Feld that's the promoter, and you got the AMA that's the sanctioning body. Like, it's honestly a bit of a clusterfuck. And if you had one person that was in control. Let's say Feld owned all of it and could do everything, and they could just change the rules tomorrow, and they didn't care if the OEMs kicked off a stink about it because KTM's not paying them 500 grand a year and Yamaha's not paying them 500, whatever the figures are. But everyone's too scared to change, and everyone's got a say, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And so it just becomes about appeasing everybody.
Right.
But make a spec tire. Go to Dunlop and just say, we need a Supercross tire. The rules are the knobs can only be X amount high, X amount wide, and you can have X amount of knobs on a Supercross tire.
I like that.
That's it.
I'll sign up for that.
You can't run a scoop. You can't run a standard motocross tire. You could make some changes, because I think what makes the sport dangerous now, and you talk about RJ versus Jett Lawrence. If RJ was out on that track on that bike against Jett Lawrence, he'd get lapped 6 times in one main event. So the sport has progressed to a crazy level to where we kind of can't think about it in terms of then and now.
Oh no, because in each era,
it just progresses
it's completely
so much.
different.
Yeah. But you're right. You even got to go back to the early 2000s. Hard tracks, not a lot of dusty tracks at a lot of times, slick, and different obstacles. The guys just didn't know. But I think now, again, you've got Feld, it's a machine. They got to go in. They got a certain amount of days. They got to go in. They got to get out. It's a formula. It's a routine. It's a product. It's a product more than it's a sport nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to just one night make the best track that is going to find out who the best rider is, you do everything perfect. You would really get something cool, but can you do that 17 weekends in a row?
Let me tell you what's really cool or not cool. I forget what year it was. They contacted David and they said, "So hey, we want to recreate the track from 1986."
Yeah, there you go.
Wasn't even close.
Oh, really?
It wasn't even close. I guess David kind of helped him, and then when it was all done, David's like, "Why did they even ask me?"
Yeah.
Because they kind of come up with their version of,
yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you're going to create it. If not, it's like.
But yeah, so I mean, I think you're right in so much of what you're saying, but then also just knowing the back end, there's just so much. There's so many things that go into it. But again, World Supercross this year, we get there, and one of the finish line jump at the Gold Coast was massive. All of the boys were flat landing this finish line jump. Huge up ramp, huge down ramp. The triple was like a booter out of the corner. And it's why can they do that? Because there's only 20 guys. They're all good. They've all been vetted. They can actually do different things because they're not appeasing for the C practice dude that is going to roll the whoops every single lap of practice and not hit him until he gets in the night show, if he gets in the night show.
So David even wants to know why we have guys still in second grade. That would be the 250 class. Why is Deegan still in second grade? Shouldn't Deegan be in?
You think he should go to 450?
Yeah, why? I mean, come on. This guy, look what he's already done on a 450.
Yeah.
You think this guy's going to, of course this kid's going to be good on a 450. Let him go to 450 and give us the excitement. Give us what we all want. I mean, I know that, and I don't think that next championship's that important to him. I don't think him winning that 250 West Coast championship means diddly squat. Okay? That's the manufacturer, the team, wanted to get the number one plate out there on their bike. But there was this time when Honda wanted to keep Cooper Webb back on that 150. And I'm going, first of all, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. The kid's ready for a 250. He should already be on a 250. Give him a 250. Let's start practice. Let's see if he can ride the thing. And you know that I have video of him at our track in Axton getting off of the 150 and getting on the 250, and you can't hardly tell the difference which bike he's on. You have to really look at or listen to tell which bike he's on. That's how good he was jumping from one to the other. And they still want to keep him on this 150, which, excuse me, was a turd compared to a super mini.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did on a 150 was miraculous, trying to race AC on that super mini. I will guarantee if Adam had to ride the 150 and Cooper was on the other thing, Adam would have never seen him. He would have never seen him. And so I'm like, sometimes you're holding the kid back, and it's like, let him go. He belongs there. He's qualified to be there. Yeah, he should be there. Why put him in put him back in second grade?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of money to win. Like, guarantee, you sort of think he's gonna win, so that's a lot of money there. But
yeah,
I mean, I would have loved to have seen it. And then I bet there's a part of him now that Jett's out.
Now
he's like, dude,
now he's like,
maybe I should have done, because like he's gonna be good. Like he's,
yeah. Oh, he's got a little bit mature, and just get how that works right there with those guys.
Yeah.
It's like anytime when I moved up and racing different guys, I had to learn those guys. Even no matter how good I was, I still had to learn. I knew the guys I could push. I knew the ones I couldn't push. I knew where I had to be a little bit more patient. And, you learn that stuff. And he's good enough. He'll learn that stuff quick. It won't take him a season to learn that stuff.
Yeah. What do you make of his, like, technical riding?
He's a little over the. I like what he does. I think he's good. It's kind of like. Kind of a Tomac on steroids.
Yeah. If Eli Tomac had ADD. Yeah.
So, but he's going to learn that. I mean, the kid's good enough, he's smart enough, and he's got people around him enough that are going to go, hey, we need to maybe you drop down like 5%. You're going to be better than you are where you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you think he can be a 450 champion?
Possibility, yeah.
What would stop him?
What would stop him? Him. Himself.
So
That's what would stop him.
You think like he can straight up be better than Jett?
As good. I don't know if it's better because Jett's pretty flipping good.
Yeah.
It's hard to go against Jett. I mean, that guy is just brilliant. He's brilliant. He's the best I've ever seen.
Really?
And you'll be surprised to know who my guy was. Besides Tomac. I always liked Tomac. But you know who my guy was?
Who?
I'll get your opinion on this. Ryan Villapoto.
Yeah, he's the man.
Oh, what he could do with the bike and the way he controlled his brakes to make shit happen was like he knew how to manage every single thing. He knew how to manage and find traction where there was no traction. He could just do things. I just remember the corners that he comes out of. It was always coming out of a turn after the finish line, going into the start line area where there was lots of room. And he'd come in and use that outside berm and just rail the crap out of it. And he'd come out of the corner, and it started digging. It was getting dry. And he could literally go from this berm, power slide, little bit of a power slide, flat track, straight into a wheelie, carry it right down to the corner and set it down and do it again. And I could watch him all day long. I've watched videos of him just over and over again going, this kid is what he could have done. He hadn't even reached what he could have done. I don't think. I think he was just amazing. And Tomac's like kind of there, and I like Tomac because of aggression. I'm big about the head in lean thing and how that works. I don't know if you know much about that, but helping the bike turn.
Tell me what you think.
And I can show you pictures of me back on a 85, on a Hodaka, My head is in the corners because it helped me turn. So if
Well, it's a lot of weight.
If we're sitting here right now, okay, and you just had your arms out a little bit, you don't have your arms out yet, and you take your head and you tilt it down and in, where are you going?
There you start. Yeah.
That's how you make it turn, like on a dime. Boom.
Yeah. So interesting to hear you talk about this. So I've noticed one of the big things that Jett does, and this is something that I don't do when I ride, that I'm actually trying to make myself do more.
Okay.
Jett initiates his corners with his head and his chest. And so does Hunter. But they literally start and they push everything forward. And when I ride, like when I get into a turn, I just stay back and neutral.
No. Yeah. Watch Tomac come in.
And Tomac takes it even.
Okay, and then talk about it. They talked about it on the World Supercross thing. They talked about it on the series. When Tomac's head starts coming in, you know Tomac's on.
Yeah. Because he's got to have a lot of comfort with the edge of the tire, because your head weighs 20 pounds or whatever, 20 kilos, whatever it is.
But look at the weight you're putting on that whole front end.
Yeah.
And all this energy, if you ever did this when you were riding, I mean, every guy I've ever had do it, and he just comes back with his mouth hanging wide open like, dude, the bike just turned. If you come in and you got your nice form, your arms are out where they're supposed to be, and you just drop your head forward and in, that front end is just going to start turning, and you're going to carve, and you're just going to be like...
Well, look at MotoGP. Dude, so crazy. So I went to Sete Gibernau's house in Spain.
Okay.
And you know MotoGP guy?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, he rides he has this 2-up bike, right? And it's a 450 motard. And basically he stays straight on the bike, and he turns it, but he stays like dead in line with it. And then he's got these bars he teaches people how to turn like a MotoGP bike. And his whole thing is like just try and touch your head on the ground, essentially.
Okay.
And so
wow.
that's how like you can turn. And a couple months prior, I rode on the back of a GP bike with Jack Miller. And so I felt how crazy it was. Like, it blew my mind.
I'm sure.
It was. We were doing turns at 240 kilometers an hour, so it was wild. And anyway, so I was doing this thing with Sete, and I was literally like, there's photos of my head like that far off the tarmac. And he was like, dude, that's crazy. You did, like, no one does that. I was like, I was with Jack, so I kind of understood. Yeah. But yeah, that's the whole MotoGP thing, is like you tip the bike up, keep as little lean angle as possible, and then tip your head in as far as it can go.
And you start
then
wearing
that's where
pads on this and that and here and everywhere else because you're dragging that shit on the ground. Yeah. That's crazy.
So that's what you see in Tomac is doing that.
So here's another thing that you don't see a lot, and I don't know if you ever even thought about it. There's 2 ways of flat tracking, okay? And this is what I try and teach my guys to do is you got to determine whether you're going to flat track or speedway in this corner. Okay, so what's the difference in the two? In flat track, you get up on the edge of the seat, you lay the bike over, okay, and you're kind of up on the edge of the seat, and you're kind of steering around with the back end a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're doing speedway bike is straight up and down, wheel cocked, body completely to the inside. You have to learn in each turn, and sometimes one transition to the other. And again, I'm going to go out brag on myself. I was lucky when I rode. The reason I was lucky, I was big, okay? And I'll give you an example. Have you ridden a mini bike standing up?
Yes.
How are your legs?
I got long legs.
How are they? Straight?
Not really. No, I wouldn't say so.
You sure? Most control to have over the front end. Are your legs straight or are they bent?
I don't know.
Well, think about it. Think about it when you stand up. And you stand up straight, okay, and you lean forward, all right? What's going to happen as soon as you start bending your legs?
The weight's going to go back.
Start going back,
yeah.
Okay? So I'm a tall guy, 6'5". I'm riding this little Hodaka and all these little small bikes, right? So here I am over the top of it. If you're riding that mini bike and your legs are bent and you hit the gas, what's going to happen? What happens if your legs are straight?
Go forward, I guess.
You're going to go with the bike.
Yeah.
Okay? So now what if you lead your head a little bit, you just lead it. Now you can be as aggressive as you want to be.
Yeah.
And have control over the front end, okay?
Yeah.
So you go from there, which you see a lot of Jett, just that neutral, just all casual, like going, it's like, well, why do I need to move from here? I could just make a little adjustment here and there and everything's going to work. So, and then you can adapt to the speedway and decide, is this corner speedway or is this corner flat track? And that changes the whole thing of traction and where the bike's going and how the back end's reacting and everything. And people don't transition that all flat corners are not flat track. Some of them are speedway. So I was lucky because I was so tall that I experienced this from the very beginning. Because the bikes were so small, I could not be aggressive unless I was straight-legged and over the front of the bike. Now we'll talk about what I don't see very often. I see it on occasion. How about Travis Pastrana in the whoops? Balls of the feet, straight-legged, head over the front end. Have you ever thought about if you were straight-legged, balls of the feet, with your head over the front end, you could get perfectly balanced. So you don't have too much weight back here and you don't have too much weight here. And a little here and a little up there is going to change it. So you can literally take the bike and just, as long as the front wheel's touching those whoops, right across top. But as soon as you start, the more you bend your legs, the more weight it transfers to the back end of the bike, the more weight it makes the front end light, and the more the back end starts dropping down. The problem I had with Cooper, you remember how long it took Cooper to get whoops down? They kept talking about whooper stroke. Now he's doing better with the whoops. He did not trust his front end. When we were on 250s, he was having trouble committing to the whoops because of the fact he didn't trust the front end.
So he didn't trust to get over the front?
Had to get the front, and then you got to get the fork stiff enough to make sure that that front end, when you put all that weight forward, is able to just across the top of it, and it's not going down into it.
Yeah.
The body position is everything. And again, you ever seen a trials rider squatted? No. On balls of their feet, their legs are straight and they're over the front end. So if that works at that speed, why doesn't it work when you're going faster? Well, it does. But you just don't register all that. Going, have to be on the balls of the feet. I used to watch Jeremy McGrath go through a set of whoops, and his feet were literally like this. They looked like they were floating on the pegs. That's how neutral he was on the bike and how far he was forward, that those feet were just like almost nothing on the back end.
Yeah, Chad was very much like that as well, eh? Like Chad was so far over the front.
Chad was great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you another thing about finger on the clutch. I heard this. I think it's pretty true. Chad was watching Jett, and he asked him why he didn't have his finger on the clutch all the time. And he said, I don't know. Chad had a talk with him, I guess, and told him about the finger on the clutch and why he should have it and blah, 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 the advantage to that. From then on, Jett has his finger on the clutch. Going, hadn't thought about that one, I guess. But you look at his early stuff, no finger on the clutch, and then all of a sudden, finger on the clutch.
Yeah. Yeah, Brayton's the guy that told me about how important that was. He's like, reckons it, every whoop, he's like modulating it with his finger.
And most guys are going, what? No, you're clutching the whoops. And I'm like, okay, whatever, just... So in my career, I did some firsts.
Akrapovich, I will say this, best built muffler for the money.
I've never owned one in my life. They those things.
Dude, $1,600, dude.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, you will. You'll do it.
Damn you, Chris Kiefer. They've got one. This part fits your ride. 1,300 with shipping. All right, let's go. So now we hurry up and wait. Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, already.
That's unbelievable. That happened so fast. Because this order was over $79, it qualified for free shipping. And Kiefer was right. This might be the most well-built exhaust I've ever seen. And we wasted no time fitting it to my YZ450. The way the exhaust mounts on Yamahas is unique, but really simple. And in about 20 minutes, we have transformed the look, the sound, and the engine characteristics of this 450. All that's left to do is hit the track. As usual, Kiefer was right. The Acro took the power of the Yami and put it in all the right places. It was smooth off the bottom, but still meaty, and I loved the new exhaust note. To transform your next ride, hit the link in the description and head to motorsport.com. And right now, if you head to motorsport.com/win, you can enter their Ultimate Ride Sweepstakes and win a YZ450F of your own.
Okay, so David reminded me of this, and I hadn't even thought about it, but I had the first real team in 1962. I talked to Bull Taco.
Yeah,
I got me 2 riders plus David. David was on a mini bike.
yeah.
And I got me 2 riders. One was Gary Chaplin, and the other was Bob Harris. And I got him to join my team. I got Bull Taco to give us all the bikes. I had a 125, a 250, and a 360. Chaplin had a 125 and a 250, and Bob had a 250 and a 360. And David was riding a mini bike at the time that I took in his little Yamaha 80 and painted it exactly like our Bull Tacos. And everybody had to wear the same gear, same stickers on the bike, everything had to be identical. When we pulled up at a racetrack and we unloaded, dude, everybody was the same.
And that was the first time anyone ever did that.
Nobody had ever done that.
That's sick.
Guys were wearing, some guy had this deal and another guy had that deal, but yeah, nobody had ever done that before with the whole
And
team.
where did that come from?
Because I wanted everybody to look the same. I thought if we're a team, we're a team.
Yeah.
Football teams don't wear all different shit. Okay? Baseball teams don't wear, if you're a team, you wear the same shit.
100%.
So I went, we're going to wear the same stuff, guys.
What was the reaction to people?
Well, to the riders or people?
Just like when you showed up. Do you remember the
People were
first
like
time?
mind-boggling. We had all these bikes lined up, every single one of them exactly the same. David's little mini bike painted exactly the same. And it was just like, when we pulled up, it was badass.
And had you seen people in Europe doing that, or?
Never seen it before.
That's so cool.
I just said no.
Was this before you went to Europe or after?
This was 1972.
So this was after Europe.
So just to throw in this, in 1970, I signed a contract with Bull Taco, which I'd been riding Greaves, and I'd come to the Daytona and the Winter Series on a Greaves. And Bull Taco contacted me and said, hey, we'd like you to ride for us. Oh, okay. Wow. What would it take? So I threw a couple of things out there, and they said, yeah, I think we can do that. And so then they said, what about transportation and stuff? What are you going to do? And what about this? And I said, so I told them I laid out this thing that was probably a little bit further than, I wasn't getting paid anything, but I wanted all my bikes, I wanted all my parts, I wanted some gas money, and whatever else I might need, maybe, we can talk about that later. They said, okay. I had never been on the bike. I signed the deal at 12 o'clock the night before the first Supercross at Daytona. Went out for practice, first time I'd ever been on the bike. Won my heat race, got third in the main event. And that's how my Botaco deal started.
That's unreal. So
Yeah.
you didn't consider yourself a professional before then, or when would you say that you were a professional motocross racer?
Well, I think I was when I went. I think I was when I found out that after I came back from Europe and I transferred went all the way across the United States and made enough money to pay my bills.
So that's in your mind.
So in my mind, yeah, I'm a professional, dude. I'm not working anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I called my work. Oh, by the way, I got some bad news. The first news wasn't bad news. This is bad news. I'm not coming back to work.
So when did you make that phone call?
I made it, I think, the week before I went back to California for the race there when I had decided that's what I'm going to do. So, but here's what turned it all around and made me decide this. When I was in LaRue, Ohio for the interim event, a couple of Europeans were supposed to teach a school on Saturday. And for whatever reason, they called that night and said, hey, we're not going to do the school or blah, 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 whatever. I don't know the exact reason. So Penton comes and knocked on my door and said, it's John Penton's brother. I can't remember what his name was. Tom? I don't know. Can't remember what his name was. He comes and knocks on my door at 10 o'clock at night and says, hey, Bailey, I need your help. I go, what? He goes, I got 20 guys signed up for the school tomorrow that the Europeans are supposed to do. I go, yeah. And he goes, well, I need somebody to teach it. They just called and said they're not going to be here to do it. And I got these guys already signed up. I don't know nothing about a school. I go, well, can you do it? And I said, yeah. So everybody shows up that morning. I go, hey, guys, Gary Bailey. Some of you may know me. Some of you probably may not. I said, but, number one guy, West Coast. But I said, Euros ain't showing up, so they've asked me to do this. You guys all good with that? And they go, yeah, sure. So I said, I'm winging this, dude. I've never done this before. I don't know. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start at the start line. I'm going to demo a couple of starts. I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell you what I do, and you can ask me a couple of questions, and then you guys are all going to do a couple of starts, and I'll watch you and tell you what I see. So we do that, run through that. Okay, that's cool. All right, let's go to the first turn. I'll run through it again. Same thing, be a couple of runs, talk about it. I'll tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, tell me. So we spent, I think, 6 hours that day. Went around, did all, everybody's like, dude, this was so cool. I learned so much of it. I'm like, okay. I was winging it, dude. So all the way back from Ohio when I was doing the series, I was going, you know what? If I can do these schools and make a little bit of money doing the schools, and then all the races I go to, I'm going to maybe get them to give me $100 appearance fee. Plus, if they got a cash purse, I'll be doing okay. So I made the decision when I got back that, hey, I'm not coming back to work. I'm going to try this professional racing thing, and that's where it all started. And I had never worked for anybody since then. So it was pretty rad because I spent 12 years working in the grocery store and just thought, that's not where I want to be the rest of my life. So
it's amazing.
So then I built the first toy hauler.
Really?
Never been one. Got pictures of that too. Yep. Living quarters in the front. These guys were building the trailers for everybody called their bikes out to the desert. And I said, hey, I want one, but I want living quarters in the front. And I want a garage in the back. And they went, oh, okay, we can build that. So they built it, had a big showing. Cycle News showed up, Motor World showed up, Cycle World showed up and took pictures and stuff of this first big trailer. It was badass. So I got to California and had a rainstorm and the roof was leaking and we spent all night the night before the race with buckets and water. Boy, I was so pissed off. I was like, holy shit. And so it was pretty good for a while. Then the back of it started breaking off because they didn't use heavy enough beams for that support back there. So the back end, David called it El Serioso Bindo. The back end was hanging down. So then I went to this analytical logging company that builds these rigs for out in the oil fields. And I go, this thing ain't bending, I know for sure. And it was pretty heavy. I had to build me one there. And I was... I pulled it at a 28-foot motorhome with a 28-foot trailer behind me. And I'm going across the old bridge when you go across I-10, down across the Mississippi River. Yeah. It used to be so narrow that the semis had to pull their mirrors in, and they had to run this steel rail along. They had to keep their tires on the steel rail so that two semis could pass. So I'm going along there, and I'm just kind of creeping and crawling. Fucking door on the trailer handle catches the door and rips the fucking door.
No way.
Brand new trailer. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I was being so careful. And so that was like, okay, so much for that. So then breakaway levers, the arc levers and all
Yeah,
like those. I designed the first lever. It was called a pivot lever. Popped out of the way, and I got Answer to start selling it for me.
Yeah.
Answer bought the pattern for all U.S. and all these other countries. They got a patent on it. And so when Bob, what's his name? Arc lever guy, you know him?
Yeah, I do know.
Gosh, I talk to him all the time. How do I not think of his last name? Anyway,
Yeah.
he come up with this idea to break these levers, pivot levers, and breakaway levers and all like that. So Answer had the patent. So Answer got in with him, and they started making these levers. And of course, they say, "Hey, you need levers? You want, dude? You just call me. I'll give you whatever amount of lever." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't care." I mean, I was part of the deal, but still, I had the idea. So that was the first. I built the first set of whoops ever,
Really?
which was in Ascot, where I did that track. Only they weren't called whoops. They were called. I called them stutters because I had no idea. They wouldn't let us dig down. And we didn't haul any dirt in. So I took telephone poles and laid telephone poles every 2 feet apart and stunk them in the ground about this far just so they wouldn't roll. And that was the first sets ever. And I think it might have been, I don't remember if they told me exactly where the word whoops actually come from. I think it from guys going over the bars and they were going whoops.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea where it came from.
We used to call them stutters in Australia back in the day.
Okay, that's what I called them.
Yeah, we used to call them stutters back in the day.
All right, maybe they saw my first drawing of Ascot. That's
But yeah, they used to, if you go back and watch any of, do you remember the old, like, Supercross Masters in Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would call them stutters back then.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So then doing Daytona, 34 years, doing Daytona track. That was kind of cool, kind of fun.
How did that first come about?
I'm at the Winter Series, and Bill France comes to the series and says, "Hey, we need somebody to come here. We want to think about running a motocross race inside of Daytona." So they obviously contacted me. They knew who I was, so they contacted me and Jimmy Weinert. So can you guys come over on Monday and check it out and see where we can lay out this course and all, and if we can do it inside of here. So we went over there, and I walked out into the infield with Bill, and we're talking about all the different ideas. In fact, I don't know if you noticed it, but the first race was not in that oval there in the front. It was back in the center where all the flags are, where the road race course, where they got that, whatever that big U-turn thing is. I don't know what they call that right there. That's where the first race was, right inside of there.
Yeah, right.
So we're walking around looking at it, and Jimmy was sitting over on the wall the whole time, just blah, 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 blah. And when we got all done, Bill looks at me and says, "I want you to build the track." He didn't even look at Jimmy. He goes, "If you ain't got enough time to walk out here and kind of see what we're doing, then you don't need to be building the track." So that's how I ended up with the deal of building the track at Daytona. So so that was pretty cool.
So how did that work? Every year you just went in like a week early? And...
Actually 2 weeks early. And then I also built Houston the first 2 years.
Really?
And I built Dallas the first year. And I was doing all three of those tracks while I was racing Daytona. So I'd built Daytona. I had to go back and get Houston done because that was right afterwards. And then, fortunately, Dallas wasn't right after that. So I had to build this and go here, go back, race here, go back and finish building the track here, then race here. So it was kind of a crazy thing. So yeah, I did all three of those tracks.
So how did you start? You got the Bull Taco team, and then you kind of start developing that team.
Yeah.
When did motocross in America like kind of formalize into almost the sport that we know now?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Because it's a very slow grassroots process.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it is. I did one of the nationals at our race in Axton, and for 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000. 86, 87, 88, 90, and 99, 91. Yeah. So I did one of the nationals at our track. And at that time, I think it was just starting to get good momentum then because the crowds weren't huge. And then our national ended up going to Budge Creek, political, but it ended up at Budge Creek. And so, yeah, I don't know, probably mid-70s, early 80s, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
Probably really got going.
And so you started the Bull Taco team in 72.
Yes.
So it was sort of right before.
Yeah, right before all that happened.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I could see it was getting bigger because even with my schools were getting bigger and the interest was just was growing. So yeah, so it was such a gradual thing. I have a hard time picking an exact time to say it just boomed then.
Yeah. And so how much of your career was strictly racing focused? Because it seems like you always kind of the tracks and designing, and it sort of just seemed like you just made it your whole life. Were you ever really focused on just racing?
I had intention to focus on just racing when I started my schools. And then, I won two 250 nationals in 72. And there was only like 5 or 6 250 races. I'm going, why didn't I ride all of them, you stupid? And those two I only rode because I was there and I built the track. And that's the only reason that I even raced those two, or I probably wouldn't even race those two. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But in 72, 73, and 74, I was still racing. I had national 74. I had national number 38, that's about the time that I decided I wanted to focus more on the schools because I felt like I focus on the schools the way I wanted to and to be totally ready and there early and everything. It was hard to just race. So I just went, I'm going to focus more. I still did some racing, but I just wanted to focus more on the schools than I did the racing itself.
Why do you think that was?
There was a lot of interest in the schools. I liked racing, but I really enjoyed the schools. I think I got more satisfaction from the students making progress and seeing how much influence I had on them and what they were doing. And I think that gave me more satisfaction than racing. I always liked racing, but I hated losing. And it seemed like every school you did, you were winning.
Yeah.
So maybe,
no, I get it.
So maybe that's where that went.
It is rewarding as a coach, or to work with people and see them improve. And I'll do some coaching with jiu-jitsu, and I work with kids, and you'll see some kids pick some stuff up and some concepts kind of change the way that they do things. And then I've got a lot of friends that have started years after when I started, so you can help them. Their learning curve, it's so much steeper because you can be like, hey, you're thinking about this wrong or this wrong. And it is very rewarding. And you go to competitions with guys and you can help them win competitions. It's as much as you love doing the thing yourself, I think that there's a certain personality type, or there's a certain kind of person that just enjoys coaching and helping and watching other people do well. I think that's a definite personality type.
I think what made me, after I did that first school, and as happy as the guys were and what they felt they learned, when I felt like I didn't really have enough information to give them, I wasn't great in school. I guess it's because I wanted to get out of there and go ride my motorcycle. Getting home and working on my bike just seemed like more fun than hanging out in school. But I blamed a lot of my, do I want to call it a failure? I don't know. My lack of enthusiasm and aggression at school
on teachers
was because of my teachers.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give a flip if I got a D. As long as I passed, that's all they cared about. They didn't care what grade I got.
Yeah.
I could sit in the back of the room and squatch down the same height as everybody else, and they didn't even notice me, which is what I want them to do, but they should have seen me.
Yeah.
And when I didn't turn in all my homework good, they should have said something. But they just let me slide. And I said, I never want to be the teacher that's just there. And I don't know about you and the experiences you had with teaching and others, but I've had several guys that I know that have told me fact they're just doing it for the money. You know, they just go there, do what they got to do. I saw one of the very, very top guys one time teaching at Paula, and he sat on the back of his truck the whole time, and the rider had to come over to him so he could tell him what he was doing, and he couldn't even see him on half the track at Paula. And that just burns me to no end. Guys that don't know what they're talking about, guys that are just doing it because, well, I don't know what else I'm going to do, so I guess I'll just teach some classes. And I've even had some say, you know what I like about teaching him? He'll do anything I tell him to do. If I told him to pick that shit up off the floor, he'd go over there and pick it up. And I'm like going, dude, I don't even want to tell you what I got to say to him. Because I take my teaching seriously. In fact, right now, I'm down to just doing privates, one-on-one, maybe 2-3 guys, because I want to see them learn. And if they're not learning, I can go, hey, I don't have time. Because the only reason I'm doing it is to see the progress, and it gives me that satisfaction, and I know that they're getting benefit out of it. But if somebody's not doing it for that reason, I'm going, I don't care what kind of teaching it is. If you're not doing it for the love of teaching and to help others, then get out of it and go do something else. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think that you achieved everything that you wanted to achieve as a racer?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with what I did.
Yeah. So I guess
for the time frame and what it was, would I have liked to won an AMA #1 plate? Yeah, but then again, hey, check it out, dude. I went and run the 50+ class at Daytona in '94 and won that bugger.
Yeah.
And you know why I did it? I did it because it was 25 years after I won the thing at July 4th. And I said, wouldn't it be cool just to go win another championship 25 years later? That'd be terrific. So I stopped all my schools. I spent the whole month doing a little training and riding so that I was ready to go when I got there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do. You know, even if I would have won an AMA national championship or something, this sport is so, they don't give a crap about history. Compared to all the other sports, they don't care about history. The kids today don't care about it. The promoters don't care about it. Nobody cares about it. That flipping thing they do with the heroes and legends thing, I mean, that's cool, or we'd have nothing. I just think that they don't recognize, like all other sports, these guys that have had the success that they've had. I'll guarantee you 20 years from now, nobody will know anything about any of this. They won't know anything about what happened in the very beginning, whether it's me or Silverthorne or Hart or any of us. They didn't know we're John DeSoto. Nobody's going to know anything about us. But yet, in Europe, they know about the guys, the DeCosters and the Joels and the Torsten Hallmans and so it's a whole different thing. It's just in America, too many things going on, I guess, and they can give a flip about it. I've had people who say they don't even know who Roger DeCoster is. How do you not know who Roger DeCoster is? What the hell's wrong with you? How do you not know that?
Yeah, it's probably just way less organized. Like the NFL's been a thing forever, or NASCAR's been a thing for, like, it's been one thing for so long, or the Formula One championship. Like, it's just been so consistent for so long. Yeah,
well, I don't know. We've been 50 years, haven't we? Isn't that long enough?
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, that's true.
I would think it's long enough.
What was it like doing that trip with Roger DeCosta? Because he must have been like one of the icons of...
Oh, for me, it was like, I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. That had to be crazy.
He's probably, I mean, he knew who I was, but, Yeah, because I offered to carry his bikes around. I guess I don't know. And it's crazy. Shit. That first gal he was married to, Lori. Well, I was at this big press thing, and there was a gal that was, she was hot. And we got to talking one thing, and Roger ended up coming into this thing, and I said, hey, you need to meet this guy. And that was the end of that right there.
Really? So you introduced him? That's wild.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So he was stoked on you after that.
Oh, I don't know if he was stoked on me or not. You probably didn't remember who I was. He was just so locked up over there going, okay.
So did you guys ride and practice together on that trip?
No.
No, just took his bike.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We didn't actually practice that much.
Back then?
Back then. I mean, not like when I was at home, I practiced all the time, but during the series and the trip, we didn't like have tracks where we stopped and practice and stuff.
What'd you guys do?
It was
to
pretty
pass
much
the
just
time?
race
Just
day.
drive.
What's that?
What'd you just do to pass the time? Just drive?
Yeah, drive from one race to the next one and hang out a little bit and get there on Saturday get set up and ready and a little practice on Saturday and yeah.
So different now.
Oh yeah, completely different. So that was some of my first. I was the first to do any training videos.
Oh yeah.
Nobody had done that, and then all of a sudden there was a couple other guys. I don't throw their names out there. There's a couple other guys decided, oh, there's a good idea. I'll make some training videos.
Yeah.
So, I had the first motocross school in the United States. I did the first videos. And then what I thought was really interesting was I started posting these old race videos and stuff and old practice stuff. And the next thing I know, these other guys are posting same things, like going, whoa, there's a good idea. I think I'll throw that out there and start posting some old stuff if people are liking it. And I'm just like going, you guys.
What do they say? Imitation's the highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's what I always just like, I don't care, you guys, just whatever. I said, I know who was there first, and I'm like, yeah, so. Hey, so how about a few names? Oh, come on, you gonna pop up there? No, you're not gonna pop up there, so I'll just.
Yeah. So when did you? So the schools are going good. So and you start to get fulfillment from that. You realize that there's something there. So I'm guessing the whole time you're coaching David as well. So
yes.
You've kind of got a student that you can coach full time away from school.
You want to hear the funniest statement he told me about 4 or 5 years? I don't remember when he told me. It was a long time ago. He goes, Dad, when you were doing those schools and I was standing there watching, he's 10 years old, kid standing there flagging for me, right? And he goes, God, I hope I never have to go that fast.
Really?
I was laughing my ass off, just going, dude, that's so funny. And he ends up just.
Yeah, so what was that process like to watch him turn into, he's one of the great American motocross racers.
I knew it was coming. Probably not till he was 15, maybe 16. When I saw that he was taking a real interest in wanting to be, not because I want him to be, not because I was trying to help him to get there, but when he decided he was going to do it, and I can tell you what, anything he's ever decided to do, I don't care what it was. When he decided to do Ironman, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it until I win Ironman. Wins Ironman. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to win a championship. He wanted to win the Motocross of Nations. He wanted to win this race. He wanted to win that race. Whatever race he had put his mind onto, that's what he did. He won it. Determination. Like when I asked him, they're going to do the thing. First, I asked him why he's doing the Ironman. He says, because I can. I said, well, why the hell are you doing this race across the United States? That don't make any sense. He said, because I can. I'm like, okay.
Did he always have that determination as like a quality?
Pretty much. And I think that's what made him as good as he is.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
I might have instilled some of it in him.
Yeah.
Because I was always like, look, if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Yeah.
Like he was like, he even tells his kids, he said, I could never do it good enough. I'd wash my bike. And as soon as I go, hey, look at my bike, you go, did you turn it over and wash on the bottom of it?
That's literally my dad.
He said everything was never good enough But then when my son started doing it, he said, I turned around, I'm doing the same exact thing my dad did to me, and I'm laughing, going, well, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way it is. So, yeah, he just, he learned, I think, a lot of, because the way that I kept things and all like that, and my drive to do things, I think he kind of got that, then he took it just to a different level.
Yeah. It must have been so cool watching him do what he did throughout his career.
Yeah. We just, we just worked on issues, whatever issues we had, we just worked on them. So it was good. A good story. You'll love this one. He's like 10, 11 years old, and we're driving down Indiana on the turnpike. I've got this big trailer and driving my motorhome along. I'm going, Dave, hey, need you to get me some chips and a drink out of the refrigerator. Dave, get me some drinks out of the refrigerator. And get me some chips. And we were always joking with each other. He says, well, do it yourself. I'm like, you little fuck, did you just say that? Okay, so I'm driving along, and I'm doing the no hands thing, seeing how far this motorhome goes, because there's not a lot of tryhard.
Yeah.
And I'm just checking this thing out. I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Okay, all right, you got it set. I get up, and I turn around, and I walk back to the refrigerator, and he's like freaking out. Dad. And the whole time I'm looking at the road, right, just to make sure, because when it veered, usually it's a slight little.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I open up the refrigerator, I get my drinks, and I start back, and oh shit, my chips. And I'm still looking, Dad, you're back. I got my chips, I walk back, and I sit down, and he's like, oh, fuck.
How old would he have been then, you reckon?
11, I think.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't think you'll ever do that again.
That's awesome.
But it was funny as hell.
So you guys had a good relationship.
Oh yeah, it was great. And to clear this up, some people say that, and Davey Coombs always says all the time, he's my stepson. He's not my stepson. I adopted him. So he's not my stepson. He's my child.
Yeah, right.
You know. So it's like a lot of people say he's my stepson, but he's not, because I adopted him.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, doesn't that make him my child?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy that, like, you obviously had the career that you had, and then he has the career that he had. So it's like you think about like the whole conversation around like nature versus nurture, right? So nature's like biological, you're passing on genetics, and then nurture is like
Oh, everybody's like, well, yeah, but he got it from you. He had this natural ability. And I'm like, oh, maybe he didn't have that natural ability from me.
Yeah, okay. So how old was he when you adopted him?
10.
Yeah, okay. And so he wouldn't have rode bikes before that then?
He rode one time with his real dad in Dana Point, once or twice on a little, I think, Honda 90.
Yeah.
A little bit, but he had been to the races. In fact, the interesting thing was, his natural dad had brought him to the races at Saddleback when I won.
Huh.
And he didn't even know me. He was just there at the races. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's a very small world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
because his dad rode a little bit too.
Yeah. So yeah, nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
I guess in that case, it was more of a nurture thing that brought out the talent.
Yeah. So interesting, huh?
That is very interesting. Yeah, because you just assume like, oh, it's just a natural talent that you get passed down.
So here's one for you. I'm gonna throw a few names out here. Okay,
Yeah.
You ready? So how about we go Greg Albertine, 1999 250 champion. Sebastian Tortelli, worked with him for a year and a half. I worked with him for 3 weeks. We went to Glen Helen, won both motos. Made some big changes. In fact, you can pull up on my YouTube channel, you can pull up a Professor Bailey and Sebastian Tortelli. You'll see a run that he used to ride in his arches all the time. Set of whoops on this track that we're at. The first run he wins up there, the bike is like completely boom all over the place. Second run the same. I pull him over. I go, dude, you got to get on the balls of your feet. What do you mean? You got to get on the balls of your feet. Makes a run up a little bit on the balls of your feet. Bike straightens out. Fourth run up through there. I go, a little more balls of the feet. Let the front end float a little bit. Keep your head over the front end. Next run, straight. Now I want you, oh, and he's now going up the side. Why are you going up the side? Because it's too rough going up the middle. It's like, man, you can't go up the middle of it. I go, this time you're going up the middle on the balls of your feet, right dead up the middle of this thing. Squeeze the bike with your legs. Straight as an arrow. Every run through there. This guy was so bad riding his arches that he had a stack of boots in the corner of his garage. I'm not kidding. With the boots that he had on, I asked him, how long have you been wearing those? He said, about 3-4 weeks. You could see the shank inside the boot. That's how bad it was.
So where did you get the concept of riding on your toes from?
Probably because of the fact that I wear a size 14. And when I rode in my arches, I had my foot go a couple of times underneath the foot peg and peeled back this way. I thought I broke everything back there. Fortunately, I didn't. And I just had to go to the balls of my feet. And also, as I thought about when I started teaching, I thought a little bit about this. And I thought, wait a minute. We run on the balls of our feet. We ride bicycles on the balls of our feet. We do anything that we need to move and be light, we do on the balls of our feet. So why wouldn't we ride on the balls of our feet? And then I'm looking at riders, and I'm looking at guys like McGrath that's on the balls of his feet, and I'm looking at other guys that are hammering, they're in their arches, and I go, okay, there's no brainer. Shouldn't take much more to figure this one out. So that's
and McGrath came from BMX.
Yeah.
So he would have been clipped in.
Look at the
on
style
his
that he
toes.
brought to us. He brought a style to us that we had never seen. We thought you ride a bicycle this way and a motorcycle this way. No, you ride a motorcycle like you ride a bicycle. That's why he smoked everybody so bad. He learned how to lead. He was leading the bike. He was light on the pegs. He was doing everything you need to do on a BMX bike, making it work on a motocross track, a supercross track.
What overlap? Was there any overlap between David and Jeremy?
No.
So that, David was already done racing. Yeah. I want to say a massive congratulations to the team at Fist Handwear, because starting right now, Fist is proud to be officially distributed in the US through a partnership with Parts Unlimited, bringing their gloves to riders all across the US. That means it is easier than ever to get your hands in a pair, no matter where you are. I've been banging on about how amazing Fist gloves are for the last 10 years, and now it's easier than ever for US riders to get a pair of their own. If you've heard me talk about them on the podcast before, but never tried a pair of your own, now there's no excuse. No matter what you ride, motocross, BMX, road, or even on the job, Fist has a glove designed for every condition, from blazing heat to icy cold. Apart from being the best performing gloves in the world, they also have a design for any flavor, from wild prints and bold graphics to collabs with some of the world's best athletes. And it doesn't just stop at gloves. Fist has moto socks, tees, hoodies, and hats, the full kit and caboodle. I've trusted Fist for over a decade, and I don't plan on changing. Do yourself a favor, join the Fist Army today at fisthandwear.co, or head in to your local dealer and tell them that they need to start stocking Fist.
So here's another one. So I got to tell you. So I got Rhino from 95 to 96.
Yeah,
I got
right.
Larry Brooks in 1988. I got Ron Tishner the year we won the 125 East Coast Championship. I worked with Brock Glover for 1 month because Yamaha hired me because Donnie Hansen and him were having a battle for the championship. While David was riding for Honda, Yamaha hires me to work with Brock because he got to win that championship. And I had a deal with Kawasaki for my schools. I was getting paid by Yamaha. David's on Honda, and I'm getting paid by Kawasaki. I'm like, who else does that shit?
Oh, that's awesome.
So then I got, James Stewart one day.
Oh, you coached James for one day.
I got an article that's posted on my wall in the shop. It was a little article about this big, and I blew it up about this big. And it says, did you ever attend a motocross school? He says, yeah, I went to a Gary Bailey motocross school one time, and he hit me on my hand with a stick, and I never went back. Well, what did your dad have to say? Dad said I should have had my finger on the clutch.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is the best one. I love it. So then I got Ricky Carmichael when he was on 60s and 80s.
Yeah.
Justin Barsha from the time he was on minis till he turned pro on and off. The only reason he had to be on and off because he was living down at Colleen's down there. And Colleen wouldn't let him recognize that he was working with me, so he'd be there and then he'd come to me every so-and-so 3 or 4 months to fix whatever issues there were. Travis Pastrana, 13 years. Cooper Webb, 9 years. Davey Millsap, 5 years. Michael Lessie, 4 years. And then I could go to a whole list that's crazy. You may not know some of these names. Bill Russell, basketball player. Obviously, David Baby, Robbie Gordon, Jeff Stanton, Ricky Rudd, the car driver, Ezra Lusk, Grave Albertine, Ryan Hughes, Teddy Mondale, vice president's son. He came and spent a week with me. Kyle Lewis, Marty Tripe, Sebastian Tortelli, Davey Coombs, Ronnie Tishner, Davey Millsaps, Michael Lessie, Jessica Lessie, Doug Boyson, Mike Lafferty, Jessica Patterson, Stevie Bauer, Kevin Foley, Robbie Skaggs, Rick Avenue. Lots of those guys' names. Gavin and Ivan Truttle. Oh, man. Zach Osborne. Yeah, just to name a couple of them.
That's a crazy list.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then one day, my mind just went blank. One day, Ryan Dungey walks up to me when we're walking from track walk going back. He says, "Hey, Mr. Bailey, how you doing?" And I'm going, "I'm doing pretty good. How's it going?" He goes, "You don't remember this, do you? But me and my brother went to your school back in..." And I'm like, "Nope, didn't remember that one."
How wild is that?
And then I run across guys all the time at the track. They go, "Dude, I went to your school back in..." And I'm like, oh, dang. Because I've done I used to do 25 guys in a class.
Mm.
So it was satisfying, dude. My wife asked me why I still do it. I do it because I love doing it. I mean,
Yeah, you're so passionate still.
Yeah, I just what I want to do.
Yeah.
And if I go to a race, I went to Budge Creek. I had my camera.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what Tomac's issue was, and I wanted to see the Lawrences in person, and get stuff because I'm looking at stuff what's going on, what are they doing?
Yeah. So you've mentioned Pastrana and Webb. They're probably two of the I don't know, maybe some of the most unique characters in the sport. What did you love about working with Pastrana?
Everything. And there was always a challenge. There was always humor. The first time he came to me, he was on a 50. Next time he come back to me, he was on a 65. And we're doing a class at Sugar Tree. And every time he comes in, he's not always up the front. He stops. His mom takes his helmet off. We stop talking. I'm talking 5-10 minutes every time, whatever. And because I got to talk about 25 guys that are there. And so I watch this, and he comes up, he walks right up to me, and he's standing there like this. And he's listening to everything I say. And I'm just going, this is pretty intense. I mean, this kid's not just, he's absorbing everything. And I'm like, okay. And occasionally he would say, "Excuse me, Mr. Bailey." He goes, "Let me understand what you just said." And he'd kind of repeat, and I go, "Yes." And he goes, "Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you." And he'd walk back over, his mom put the helmet on. I watched this for, I don't know, about a day in the class. And one day we stopped. I remember the exact spot up on the hill, whoop section up on the top of the hill. And we stopped, and Debbie walks over to take his helmet off. And I'm going, "Debbie, hold on a minute. Travis, have you ever put your helmet on yourself?" "No, sir." "Okay. You think you can get it off?" "I don't know." So I said, I had my helmet on because I was riding last. I said, "Take a little tab right there and pull that tab and spread these apart." Takes his helmet off. we do my little talk. And I said, Debbie's walking over there. I go, Debbie, no. If this kid can ride a motorcycle the way he rides, you can damn sure put his helmet on. I walked over to Travis and I said, I'm going to show you how to do this now. You do the same thing I did. Get your helmet on yet. I said, take this straps, take both of those buckles and run the strap through there. Okay. Now spread, my wife says, spread those little bunny ears apart. And then slip the thing back through here and then grab a hold of it and pull it till it's tight. Make sure it's plenty tight on there. Okay. Well, what happened was and I told her before, I said, listen here, guys, until Travis can strap his own helmet on, we're going to sit here. I don't care how long it takes. And they're all like laughing, like, hey, I'm telling you, I don't care how long it takes. He's going to learn to strap his own damn helmet. And so he straps his helmet. So for the first 4 or 5 times we stopped after that, Debbie's walking over there, and I'm going, Debbie, I told you. And then the one time, the classic was when she walked over and he goes, Mom, I can do it myself.
That's so
that was
good.
The classic. I was like, okay, we got it.
So you were teaching more than riding that day.
Yeah. So he was like, I mean, all the time he remembers that, like, me teaching him to strap his helmet. Who would have thought? I mean.
So how long did you work with him for?
He started coming to a lot of group classes because we weren't doing privates when he was younger. And his mom would literally, like, I'd be doing 3 classes in a month, and she would literally pick him up on Friday, drive back to Maryland, 4.5 hours, drive back on Monday morning to drop him for the next one. So after she did this a couple of times, she goes, you got 3 schools coming up. Is there any way Travis can stay with you on the weekend? And I went, well, can he wash his own bike? Travis, do you wash your own bike? No, sir. I guess you'll have to learn. Mm-hmm. Travis, have you ever changed your air filter? No, sir. I guess you're going to learn. So, Debbie, yes, he can stay here, but he's going to do his own bike because I'm not doing it. I'll show him how to do it. I'll help him. And I had a kid working for me, too. I said, we'll help him, but we ain't doing it for him. I said, in those conditions, he can stay here. She goes, okay, thank you. That'll save me a couple of drives back and forth. So he stayed with me. I went to a lot of his races. And then when he turned pro, we traveled a lot together. I mean, we spent a lot. He signed, I get a bunch of stuff where he signed Dad or to my second dad. Because we spent a lot of time together.
That's so cool.
So, yeah. And I'm kind of like, get emotional about that and a lot of other guys that just have treated me like I don't exist. Like, you don't ever hear from them. It's just, it's like, oh, I don't remember you. It's like, Travis, I mean, we talk at least maybe once a month, maybe every other month, maybe so 2 or 3 times in a month. We text or talk or something and I don't ever hear from those guys for 5-10 years and never hear a word from them. And it's like, one of them I had to deal with. I'll help you all the way through your amateur thing. If when you make it, you make sure you remember, and then all of a sudden, but I'm going on a different path now. See ya. I'm like, oh, that was nice. Gee, thank you very much. I won't tell you what I really had to say.
No, it's fair. I mean,
I'll leave that to my.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's a weird industry at times in this industry, just because so many people, like I've been experiencing a little bit lately. So many people are just so underqualified. Like they don't do to be someone in the industry. All you had to do was like ride at one point, and then you can be this guy and you can be that guy. Like no one's run a business. No one's like actually done. No one's done. There's no qualifications. No one's done school. No one's done
politics,
ethics degrees. You know what I mean? Like no one's actually done shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that it just becomes, there's like a very zero-sum mindset to where it's like, for me to do well, someone else has to do bad. Like, there is a lot of that that does go on. So
that's why I didn't go to races for 6 years. I had no reason I wanted to go to a race. I just couldn't come up with a reason to go. And I love going to races. I love watching races. I love being there. I love videoing.
Yeah.
But it was like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I'll just happy right here.
Yeah.
If I want to see it, I'll turn on the TV set, which I watch most of them.
Yeah.
Just because still I like to see what everybody's doing and why and how. But other than that, it's whatever.
So what do you think when Travis stopped racing and like went in the other direction? Could you ever have predicted what he did on that front?
Yes, I can because I'm blamed for it.
Oh, really?
Okay, so Debbie shows up one week, and this was on an 85, and she shows up one week, and the first thing I asked him, I said, Travis, have you ever taken a tearaway off in the air? No, sir. Well, I think you need to learn that one. And so I said, here's the first thing we're going to do. Here's how we'll start out with it. When you go off this jump right here, all I want you to do is just take your hands off the handlebar and just then touch the bar. And see. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Okay, so next time, just take your hand off. I want you to touch your helmet. And put your hand back on the bar. Is it pretty easy? Yeah. So now let's just do a tearaway. Oh, and by the way, pretend you missed it the first time. So when you go in the air, do a little, oh, crap. And then I said, how about landing with one hand off? Let's suppose that you didn't get back to the bar. Okay. Well, that went pretty well, too. As long as you know you're not going to clip the top of it, just be cool. And then, let's see, what was the next thing I did? Then we did the feet, throwing the feet out in the air. And then he come up with this no-hander, the nothing, I think he called it. Where he's in the air, he goes, ta-da. Well, anyway, before that one happened, Debbie shows up, and I go, Debbie, I want to show you. No, he's going, Mom, I want to show you something. What? She comes down there, he's showing her all this junk we're doing, and she goes, what are you doing to my child? And then every time we were there, we're always, the knack-knack was the funniest one. I said, hey, you ever done a knack-knack? So we get this double jump, and it's 4 set of rollers. And I said, you ever done a knack-knack? And he goes, no. And he goes, have you? And I went, no. And I go, he goes, well, you show me. So I just went over this jump. I got my foot over, and I'm around here. My foot got hung onto the fender. And I land, and there's these rollers. I had to go through 2 rollers, still just hanging on, trying to get my foot. And I had to wait till the suspension compressed and rebounded so I get my foot off there. And I almost didn't crash. And I go, well, Travis, that's kind of it. It's not exactly the way I want you to do it. So, yeah, so we used to play around all the time. I mean, because I was still riding, we had a lot of fun. And we rode a lot together. Obviously, he was going to a different level, but... so I got blamed for the freestyle thing because Debbie's like, well, you're the one that started the whole thing.
That's so funny. Do you think that he's the best rider ever to not win a main event?
Wow. Certainly falls in that category, doesn't he?
He'd have to go close, eh?
Yeah. I don't know who all we'd look at, but he's certainly one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, Cinderella never won a 450
And the one that killed
race.
me in Indy 250 did, and Carmichael just took him out. Come underneath the bridge, and Carmichael just took him out. Oh, dude, I was ready to go kill Carmichael. I mean, and I'll tell you something else. You when we were at the Suzuki track, I've been videoing both of them, so we can make comparisons and see things. And Carmichael tells Roger, he goes, I don't want any more videoing. He's not videoing me anymore. Done. Put the camera away. So Roger literally, there's a video there. Roger comes over while I'm videoing, and his hand goes right in front of the camera. You see his hand go right in front of the camera? He said, no more. Ricky said, none. And I went, oh. So then I found out that the only reason was because that year, the only guy he was worried about beating him was Travis.
Mm.
And he didn't want me seeing nothing. Like I couldn't see it at the races and stuff. Like I'm that stupid that I can't figure it out at the races. But it was nice to see it at the
Oh yeah,
track.
Massive advantage.
Because I'd see Ricky,
video.
see Ricky doing something,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you the one that Ricky was. I loved. I could watch him all day long. There was a set of whoops, and then there's this big bank turn, and it's all real like loose dirt. And Ricky come into this right-hander, and he'd lock up the brakes, pull in the clutch, lock up the brakes a little bit, and then transfer into this power slide. You couldn't tell the brake slide into the power slide, and he'd do it time after time after time. And I showed it to Travis. I go, Travis, you got to do this. 20 runs, he did it once that was acceptable. That's how good Ricky was at that and how hard it was to do. And I just, like, I watch play it over. I can see it in my mind right now. That's how perfect it was that Ricky was doing it. It was just flawless.
Very Villapoto-ish.
Yeah.
Similar to the way that Villapoto had that level of control.
Yeah. I was disappointed when Villapoto quit, but he was a jerk.
Back then?
Back then. He was a jerk.
Really?
Yeah. Arrogant jerk. I mean, I liked him. I loved the way he rode. I just felt like he wasn't the guy then he is now.
Yeah, he's so, I mean, I only know him as like the best dude ever. Like, but I never knew him
this
back
is
in
what
the
he
racing.
gets paid for right now.
Yeah.
He better be that way or he's going to be out of a job. But yeah, he didn't have time. He could care less about the fans. He could go hide. I had several experiences where I just saw it going, dude, what a jerk.
I just think it's people have different personalities though. Like in terms of like how their personality leads towards like social interactions with people that they don't.
They don't know. Totally 100% agree. But when you're at that level and you put yourself in that situation, that's where you want to be. You deserve it to your fans, because if you didn't have fans, you wouldn't be getting squat and you wouldn't be making any money.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument around that. It's, Casey Stoner, like MotoGP, Casey Stoner.
I know the name of that.
Yeah, so he was like the alien of all aliens on a bike. And his whole thing was like, he didn't like the fans, he didn't like the media, he didn't like any of that. But he didn't care about that. Like, if he wanted to beat Valentino Rossi because Valentino Rossi was the best. So he would have gone and raced Valentino Rossi with no cameras, no one around, no trophy, no world champ, just to beat that guy on that day, just because he wanted to be the best. Valentino Rossi wanted to be the world champion, wanted to be on the podium, wanted to lift the trophy, wanted the fans. So people and their personality, they have like different reasons for like wanting to do it.
Yeah.
Casey would tell you that fans shouldn't even be allowed at the track. They shouldn't be allowed. So I just think people's personalities have such a massive part to play. And I know even from Dunge, right? Like because before I started the podcast, I was like a cinematographer. Like that's what I did. I'd made videos for Red Bull and whoever.
Oh, okay.
And there would be times where I hated working with Dunge because he would just give you nothing, absolutely nothing, because he just wasn't, I thought in part that he just didn't care and wasn't interested. But it wasn't until after he retired and we got talking and we got to know each other a bit better. He was just so stressed. Like everything was so stressful for him.
I believe that.
And he didn't have the capacity, like he didn't want to ride through the whoops one more time because he was stressed about riding through the whoop. Like, so I don't know. I just think people's internal experience, that what they're going through in the moment, kind of shows up.
See, and I always thought he was just the coolest dude.
Me too.
So nice, just like,
me too.
Yeah, just like I never got that impression whatsoever about Dungey. In fact, I'll tell you one experience I had with Dungey one time. I'm studying all these riders, and one day we're walking back from track walk, and I said, "Hey, I got to ask you a question," because I'm like, I study you guys, and I think I know you guys as well as on the track, as well as you know what you're doing, and dude. You've always been the guy with the index finger on the clutch, and now guys are going, "Hey, no, he's not the guy with the finger. He's got his middle finger on it." No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And then I start looking at pictures, and one picture you got your index finger on, the next finger you got your pointer finger on, and your middle finger. And I go, "What the hell is going on here? I don't understand." And he goes, "Well, it depends on the part of the racetrack." He says some parts of the racetrack, and I think it was like the whoops, like I think the whoops. He felt like he had a little more control, I think, with the middle finger than he did with the index finger in the feel of the clutch. And so and he says, "I just use it in different places. It just depends on." And I'm like,
that's mind blowing.
Okay, That's cool because I'm just baffled. Dude. What
yeah.
the hell's going on here?
I can't do the
Or
middle
why did
finger.
you change? Or it's like,
That's crazy.
and just the fact that he would just like, of course, I mean, he knew I wasn't going and spreading it or sharing it. I was just curiosity because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So.
So Cooper Webb, our defending Supercross champ. When did you know that Coop was special?
Kind of the same. I think when he was riding that 150 and doing what he was doing in that 150, and I knew that he could need to get off of that damn thing and get on a 250 because that was a waste of time. It was going to be another year wasted. And that for me was Honda wanting to sell more 150s. Probably had a bunch of them left they couldn't sell and wanted to get rid of them. So they figured if he was out there winning races that they were going to sell some of them because there was no reason to keep him back, none whatsoever. And once he jumped on that 250, I'm just going. I mean, this kid's he knows what he's doing, and he's gonna figure it out. He's gonna learn.
So where like he's so determined. He's almost like the guy even now that just bats way above his average, if that makes sense. And he's just got like this crazy determination and mental strength. Do you think it maybe comes from those days when he was just so underpowered?
I'm sure all that has an effect on you for sure. The one that kills me all the time when they talk about his racecraft, we used to have serious conversation. In fact, probably got mad sometimes because we're at the Yamaha track. And he's doing laps, running the same line. Everybody's running the same line. You're at a practice track. You've got 8 to 10 factory guys there on Yamahas, 250s, 450s, whatever they're riding. You're there all day long. It's 4 o'clock and there's one line around the racetrack. Now, what the hell does that tell you? Everybody's going for lap times. And I'm like going, get out of the flipping line and run over there and get out here and come in here and go. But that's not the fastest line. Dude, I know how fast you can go in the fastest line. You don't have to do that all day long. You ain't going to make a pass there. And am I right that every pass that is made in the not fast line? You went somewhere else to make the pass. But yet everybody says that's the best line. Well, looked to me like the other line might have been the best line. And if you don't practice the whole race, I've been to so many race practice tracks where I see this one line thing and it just makes me furious. Like, what the hell are you all doing out here? Same at amateur races, the same thing. There's one favored line around the track and I go, what is wrong with you guys? You got no imagination. And then they go, well, it's a one line. It's 20 feet wide everywhere and they're complaining it's a one line track. Well, who the hell made it one line?
Yeah. I agree with you.
Duh.
Yeah, I agree with you. I used to, when I was a kid and we were racing, I used to try, because that overwater the tracks in practice. So that,
and they have to because that's the only way they keep the dust.
So I'm like, okay, I used to say, because we just had a small track, like a local club where we grew up. And I'd be like, okay, first practice, let the track be normal. Second practice, why don't you move all the tires in to cover the inside line so that the next practice has to make, because it was either slop on the middle, an outside berm or an inside rut. And then as the day went on, it'd get hard and crumbly and dry. And then it was like you were riding on rocks, so you couldn't really go. So I completely agree.
Do you know that at Daytona, that's what I did?
Really?
Because of the sand?
Yeah. Okay.
We didn't bring clay in. We had the sand base.
Yeah.
So obviously the line is going to get carved around the inside right there. Well, I put all my corner markers out. And then for the last practice, I pulled the markers back in. So, okay, now you've got the outside. You built this one, and now you're going to build another one here. So guess what? We might have 3 lines around the racetrack. Seems pretty simple to me to figure out.
Yeah.
But yet sometimes they just leave it a little bit. Oh, whatever, dude.
Yeah. So this year, Jett's out. We're about to go into a new Supercross season. What's your predictions?
My prediction is it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really interesting. I hate Jett's out. hate that. The guy should be there, but that's a sport. That crap happens. Just because I've always liked Tomac and I want to see him. Dude, the guy's getting older and he's still got the fire of a dragon, dude. And I'm like, I just want to see this guy be able to do what he should do. What was a couple of years ago when he got hurt in Colorado, and dude, that sucks so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that one in the bag, and I don't know. It's just I don't know that I want to make a prediction. I hope Cooper comes out with a fire.
Oh, he will. He's got a six-pack right now.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw Cooper Webb with a six-pack?
Yeah, it's true too, huh? Yeah, he's had some not six-packs, huh?
yeah. He's had a couple cartons, couple years with a carton.
I just want to see good racing. I can have a favorite guy, but if it's good racing, man, I can be pumped.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see is just good, clean, hard-ass racing. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time and hearing about your life and everything that you've done. You've dedicated your whole life to the sport, and I think we're all better off for it. So
well, I appreciate that.
This was awesome. Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed just sharing some of the good old stuff that I'm 82 years old, so I'm not going to be here forever. And if these things aren't done with some of the older guys, it's going to be done. And I'm going to tell you a show you could do. And I've presented this couple of guys. Oh, it's going to cost too much money. It's not possible. Blah blah blah. I think if you had, a couple of them are gone, but if you had, let's just say that we could somehow figure out how to get myself, Lars Larson, Jim Wilson, Bill Silverthorne, John DeSoto, Hart's passed away, Gunnar Lindstrom, Tom Rapp, I think Dick Mann's passed away, and John R. I'm not sure about. If you got these guys, got us together, and let's talk about the 60s.
Yeah.
And the early 70s. Let's don't go beyond. Let's stay right there in that range. Now let's talk about what it was like and how you guys felt about this guy and how the racing was back then. Because we're the guys that were there from the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
And when we're gone, this is gone. Because nobody in this sport is going to give a flipping crap about it. It's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And you got the setup. It's pretty simple to go, hey, wouldn't take much to make that happen. We just got to get everybody to go, hey, how about?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm trying to get Roger in here too. Like, imagine hearing Roger's stories.
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger.
No, Roger's
either.
stories are going to be good too.
Yeah.
But see, he's in a different thing to where he's Europe and,
Yeah.
a little bit of here. But I mean, his stories are going to be like, I don't think that much related to any of us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, great to have him here, but I don't think that would. I don't think
it's like
that would have anything to do with
American
our
side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll get that list of names off you at some point. But yeah, it was cool. It's really cool just to go back there and you're a pioneer in so many different areas of the sport. Probably like ahead of your time in a lot of different things. In a way.
I was ahead of my time. David was kind of a little bit ahead of his time too, even though his time was good. I was just blessed. I mean, why God blessed me with this, I don't know. But, geez, it's just been good life.
Well, man, I'd tell you, I hope at 82 I still have the passion for motorcycles that you do because, I love the sport. I love riding. I love being at races. I love the whole thing. And to see you doing what you're doing at your age and the passion and the fire that you still have for the sport, I hope I'm looking into my future in that sense. You know what I mean? I think it's a really cool thing to. So many people, as they get older, they just stop. They just let all of it go. You know, you see guys in their 50s and 60s and they just stop and they don't keep going with the things that they love their whole life. And you're such a cool example of a guy that never let that happen.
No, and you know what? I don't want to be that guy at 70 years old, and don't take this the wrong way, walking with a beard and with gray hair. And, it's like, I got friends of mine that are 10 years younger than me, and I swear to God, they look 90.
Yeah.
And I try to stay active. I hang out with younger guys all the time. I don't have any friends my age. I don't.
Yeah.
My wife's quite a bit younger too, so you know, and she takes care of me and makes sure that I'm healthy and doing everything right, and so I mean, I'm blessed to have her around because, I mean, honestly, this is God's truth. Without her, I don't know I'd be here today because I've had a lot of issues that she's helped me get through, and just, you know, health issues and stuff, and. Yeah, she's just the one that's keeping me young, and I love playing golf. I put 9 holes of golf at my house, so we can play every evening if we want to before dinner.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just played yesterday. We played the day before, and me and the boys played last Tuesday. Yeah, I just like to be out on the golf course, and I don't want to sit in the house. I just don't want to sit there and do nothing. I have to do something. I'll dream up something to do outside if there's nothing to do. I'll break something just so I can fix it.
That's awesome. Well, mate, this has been great. I'm sure I'll see you again at some point. But thanks so much, mate.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
No, dude, of course. I'll tell you, the amount of times your YouTube channel is just on my TV. Hey, don't
forget that Gary Bailey MX. I need more subscribers, man.
Yeah, subscribe. Get on there. So have you just got a room full of tapes and stuff?
Oh my God, you have no idea. I have a huge room full of tapes. Fortunately, they got smaller. They got smaller. Because the big ones I've got from when I was shooting TV stuff are those big, cases. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Pretty much a room full, and I've got more that I'm still trying to go through. Fortunately, I've transferred everything and gotten onto a digital.
Yeah.
So I got all that transferred over onto digital, and now it's just on hard drives, and I just got to keep bringing it down. So
unreal. Well, mate, this has been awesome, and I'll see you again.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.